you left.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark. Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto. My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to episode 39. No, I'm awake. We are live on YouTube for the 4th episode ever on YouTube. Episode 39. Those numbers don't match, but we're kind of doing like a Star Wars thing. We're like, we don't make any sense. Sure, I'll piss off some people saying that. But anyway, welcome to Two Fat Guys Pull List live show every Friday at 8 o'clock, unless we say otherwise, which we've got a couple dates, so we are going to be technically moving the show either on a Thursday or a Saturday. We still haven't figured that out, but once we know, we'll let you know. I guess Nate's cold. Okay. Anyway, look at that with his baby on it. Anyway, welcome to the show. Two Fat Guys Pull List. We got some business to take care of as usual. We have our Two Fat Guys Pull List Mystery Pool, our monthly comic subscription service box, sponsored by Collected Comics and Games and Brainy Comics. So, if you don't know what that is a subscription service that we have that we've partnered with Ron over at Collected, where you get one store exclusive, 4 to 7 back issues comprising anywhere from bronze, silver, and modern age books, and a chance to win a big key book, or as for this month of April, which is today is actually the last day that you can actually enter to subscribe to the box. We are giving away this Brian Dunham Avenging Spider-Man #1 custom cover. So he drew this for us, or for Ron actually. Got double signature on it, and one lucky person this month will win this book. Nope, no, I still don't. 129. I'll probably remember next week, but we'll be giving away something else by then. Anyway, you have one last chance to sign up for the month of April. That is today. After today, someone is going to win this. Keep an eye out on our Instagram and Facebook, because we will be filming it going into somebody's box. So someone is going to win this bad boy. So, also, the exclusive, we can show it up on the screen, is Magic #1 from Boom Studios by John Haas. That is the cover. That is who did that specific cover. And that guy actually does the Magic cards. He actually does a lot of the Magic cards for the game Magic. And if you want to see a physical copy of me holding it, here it is. So everybody that subscribes to the April box will get this store exclusive in their box. So everyone is guaranteed this Magic #1 from Boom Studios. Pretty sick looking book. I actually really dig this cover. Like, I'd frame it. So yeah, it was. Yeah, neither do I. So that is that. That is our comic book subscription service. You can go to brainycomics.com to go ahead and subscribe to that. It's $40 a month plus shipping. And yeah, I think it's a pretty good deal. So after that, right before we get into the pull list, we have one more thing to talk about and take care of, and that is we are currently doing a giveaway. We have been on this journey to grow the channel, grow the community. We gave away our first slab at 100 subscribers, and now we're on to the 250 subscriber mark. So when we hit 250 subs, I think currently we're at 137. Had a nice little uptick in the past week, which is great. We love it. Love to see it. But when we hit 250 subscribers, we are giving away this 9.8 CGC graded Batman Who Laughs #1 Dark Knight's Metal tie-in. Nice, cool foil cover. So we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. So just, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell so you're notified so you don't miss any Two Fat Guys Pull List content, whether it's segments from our live shows or comic book hauls or even comic solicitations, even comic news. Like, we're getting ready to do 2 comic solicitation videos here in a bit, one for Marvel and one for DC. So keep an eye on for that. And so that's our business for the day. All right, so let's go ahead and get the show started. I think we're kicking the show off with Cable number 10 from Dugan. Or Duggan. Sorry. Duggan. Jerry. Did I say it right? Is it Gary? See, I feel like we I feel like we flip-flop it. Sometimes I feel like sometimes I say Gary and you're like, no, it's Jerry. And then I say Jerry and then you say it's Gary. Anyway, Dugan number 10, Cable number 10. We are inching closer to the end of the Cable series. But, we got a beautiful, beautiful Phil Noto cover. I really like this cover. More specifically, I really dig Domino on this cover. I think she looks kick-ass in this cover. So does Cable. It looks all good. And I think we finally get a first appearance of Strife in this series, finally, but not really. But anyway, that is, we're starting off the show with this. Is this my synopsis or yours? Okay, cool. So, what we find out in this book is Cable is pretty much willing to do anything to get to Strife. He's basically consumed with it. He didn't do a good job of taking care of Strife. He thought he took care of him when he killed Old Man Cable. And it just seems like that's not the case. And so what we have at the beginning of the book is Cable essentially getting ready to steal Cerebro from Professor X. And he gets caught by Emma Frost. And she's kind of like, what you doing, bro? And he, they do a little mind swipe, and she realizes that he wants to use Cerebro to find Strife, which I find that an interesting concept, because you would think, like, again, Professor X is running a nation, right? So he can't really deal with everybody's problems, and so I guess he just doesn't really find the Strife. Either one, he doesn't know about it, or he does, and he just doesn't find it as much of a consequence to deal with it. But anyway. So Cable gets talked out of that, and go for it. Yeah. Oh, I thought he was looking for Strife, and then that got shot down by Emma. So he went to talk to Cyclops. So anyway, where I thought it was going was because Emma nixed that idea. He was now going to go talk to Cyclops to see if he could rush in protocol to resurrect Old Man Cable. That's how I took it. Hold on. They can't hear you. Jaden says he can't hear you. Well, glad we caught it now. Oh, that's why. Desktop audio. There we go. It's on my end. All right, let's start over. Thank you, Jaden.
We don't need to start over.
Okay. So, Cable number 10. Yeah. So, basically, Emma talks him out of not getting Cerebro, not stealing it. And so then he ends up having a powwow with his father, Cyclops. And in that happening, they get a distress caller. They're told that there are some Iraqians that are misbehaving in London. So, and is this the book where they show Cyclops sleeping in bed and he's wearing the eye covers, but they're like laser eye covers, or was that another book?
I don't know what you're talking about. So
that might have been last week. Yeah, it's last week. So no, I'll cut back to that. Anyway, Cable goes and has a powwow with Scott while Scott's getting ready for the Hellfire Gala, and they're having a conversation, and Scott realizes that what Cable wants to do is resurrect Old Man Cable to fix this problem, and I guess it's safe to assume that they're not. I mean, you would assume that they can both be in the same place at the same time, but I feel like the book kind of makes it feel like, well, they can't do that for very long. And when Cyclops basically finds out that that's the plan, he's adamant in telling young Cable, like, I'm not having this. We're not going to resurrect the old man. Like, you're here to stay.
He literally says, over my dead body will you resurrect the old man.
Right. So while they're having this conversation, they go to London. They find two Iraqans who are causing trouble in London in a bar, and they try to escort them back to the island, and they're like, you hold no power over us. We're actually stronger than you. Come and take it, essentially. And so they fight in the bar. And, I liked this addition of getting new mutant characters in this book. So it's kind of a key issue, you could say. And so they duke it out, and while they're duking it out, Cable and Cyclops are continuing their conversation about how they're not, this isn't going to happen. You're not going to resurrect the old man. They get into a fight. It actually looks like Cable and Cyclops are going to get their asses kicked. But they gain the upper hand, and they're able to subdue them. And they subdue them, and then we cut to Old Man Cable in where I don't know if it's been established yet, but I'm pretty sure he's in limbo.
Yeah, I think so too.
So he's, in the last book, he fell in a never-ending pit, and so now he's confronted by two demons, and somehow, like, he knew exactly where his Sword of Gondor, or whatever the fuck it was called, is, and he's able to pull it out and cut off a demon's head. And it looks.
Galador.
I don't remember what it was.
Light of Galador.
Galador. There we go. He basically is able to. He's basically going to say he's going to kill all these demons, and I think he's looking for. What's her name? Liliana. It kind of feels that way, anyway.
Could be.
We don't quite know. Like, everything with Old Man Cable has been shrouded in mystery, so we just don't know the end game for him. Like, if what he's doing is trying to find a way back to, reality, or what. But it seems pretty clear that he's in limbo, so he's going to have to fight his way through limbo, and that's how the book ends. Overall, it felt like the calm before the storm, right? Like, because the next two issues where we're really going to, like, you would assume we're about to just take off.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it, but it kind of felt fillery. I mean, we got more answers, but we still have a shit ton of questions, and I know we're going to get that. We're just, it's coming to an end, so we're not going to get all the answers right away.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it was a setup for the last two issues.
For sure. So, the other thing I like that it did, and it kind of pisses me off, but not in a bad way, which sounds really weird, is when Cyclops is getting fitted for the gala, and Jumbo, or I forget his name, is giving him the suiting him up. He's like, Cable, don't forget, like, you need to get yourself fitted for a suit, or you're gonna look like a fool at the gala. And it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure he's not gonna be at the gala because he's gonna die. So it's kind of sad. I've really enjoyed this Cable run, and we're getting more books. We may have figured out what books we're getting in July and in August, but it's gonna be sad to see this one go. I really enjoyed Cable, so
I'm not sure if he's gonna die. I don't think he is.
Oh, really?
I think he's gonna go, because that's what he's talking to Scott about. He's not talking to Scott about how they can't live in the same place. He's saying, like, I got to go back to my timeline, because he said that's why I made the younger versions of you go back to your timeline. Y'all had to go back, deal with your own shit in your own timeline. He's like,
right.
And I thought I dealt with my shit. That's why I stayed. Well, it turns out I didn't deal with him. So now I got to go back, and the old man needs to stay here so somebody's watching over you.
Do you think there's going to be a surprise add to the X-Men?
To the X-Men team?
Yeah.
No.
You don't think Young Cable will be on the X-Men team?
No, I don't think Young Cable is going to be around after issue 12.
Oh, you think he's just going to straight up go to his timeline and we'll never hear from him again?
Well, I mean, no. There's no such thing as never hear from him again, but...
You think he's done on Sword, too?
Yeah, probably.
Wow, that sucks.
What has he done on Sword? Nothing. I mean, besides finding it.
Well, and got turned into a Venom dude.
Yeah, so he has not established himself as a integral character for the Sword book.
Interesting. Well, we'll see. I really enjoy Cable. Not that I have anything against Old Man Cable. Like I love the character, but I just like the fact that we got the opportunity to have the young man in the Cable series. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like that.
I mean, this young Cable is technically the only Cable I know. I have not seen any cartoons with him. I have not read any comics with him. I'm not up to him being introduced in my read through of the old stuff. And I started with House of X, so he's the only Cable I've ever known.
Yeah.
So I'm both kind of bummed out at the possibility of him leaving, but also kind of intrigued because I don't know who the hell this old guy is anyway.
What I'm actually intrigued in is if we do get Old Man Cable, that I would really love to see Deadpool, and I mean that would be badass if we got like a 5-part Deadpool Cable Krakoan miniseries. Like that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't see how they don't do that, especially with a Deadpool with the Deadpool book being canceled right now.
Yeah,
there's no ongoing Deadpool. I could definitely see that happening.
I need more Deadpool. So that's Cable number 10. Sorry for technical difficulties, but hey, this is live and this is how we fucking figure shit out. So thank you, Jaden, for the assist. We appreciate it. Next up, we have New Mutants number 17.
Another gorgeous book from Rod Rice, like always. I don't remember who it was that said this, but they said that they felt like this New Mutants run, once Rod Rice took over, was like the second coming of Bill Sienkiewicz.
Where did I see that?
Of his run. I think it was on that True Believers Facebook page group.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I have to agree with that. Like, this guy seems like he really is inspired by Bill Sienkiewicz, but does enough to have his own feel to it and stuff. Yeah. But it's so good. So I really enjoyed this issue. We basically start out with, if you remember the previous 2 issues, since Vita Ayala has taken over the book, it has been absolutely balls to the wall. It is. We've got 4 plot lines going on at the same time, and hold on to your boots. Here we go. This issue's not any different, but I think that Vita Ayala is really finding their lane and is tightening it up a little bit.
For sure.
The first arc that we get in this book is Shadow King, or Farouk. He's checking in on Wolfsbane. She's still super bummed out that her son is out there, but she doesn't know where he is, and she doesn't know what's wrong with him and what's going on. And he kind of has like a little heart-to-heart with her and says, I understand what it's like. I've been here before, yada yada. And then he kind of starts talking to her about, the children that he's been helping out in the woods. The weird, creepy thing that he's been doing that we've, been seeing in the background of this New Mutants book for a while. And he basically convinces Rain to go with him and is like, hey, I think if you come out and talk to these kids, I think you could make a difference. I think that you could actually help them deal with their psychic anguish, is what he says.
I'm going to cut in just real quick. I felt like Vita Ayala did a really good job of making Farouk seem sincere in this moment. Like, when I read it, I was like, I don't feel like he's being malice whatsoever. I know he is. Like, I know we should not trust him. But in this segment of the book, they did a really good job of convincing you that he may actually have innocent intentions.
Right.
And after I turned the page, I was like, wait a minute. Hell no. Like, he's the fucking Shadow King. I'm not. There's no way he's being cool. Like, so anyway.
I mean, that's how it's. Yeah, that's how they've been doing it this entire time. It's like, man, I know this Shadow King guy is supposed to be no good, and he's doing weird, creepy stuff with the kids out in the woods. But when he actually is speaking to anyone, whether it's the kids or to other people, it's like, well, damn, he seems so sincere.
And I think when he tapped into the whole like Krakoa is for all mutants, it's a reset. You know, you're not supposed to harbor any negativity towards that. That's I think what really got me. I was like, dude, like he's done his fucking homework.
Yeah. Then we cut to like our second main story, which is going back and following Danny and, man, I cannot remember her code name. Jean Coyman. I can't remember her code name.
I'm sure it's in the front of the book. Hold on, I'll check.
Yeah, what is it? Karma.
Karma. Yeah, Karma.
Karma. Karma is easier to say than Jean, so I will say Karma. Danny and Karma have been captured by Merlin in his particular realm of Otherworld, and they basically make a deal with him that he will go to Roma and to his daughter's realm and steal some vase, and that's what will get them set free, and he'll tell him where Josh is. And so we get a pretty cool little adventure segment where Danny and Karma are traveling from, I can't remember Merlin's realm, but traveling from there to Roma. And we get some pretty cool sequences, like with Karma using her psychic powers to kind of hold people at bay, and then Danny uses her, projecting people's fears powers on literally the entire front of the castle. They think it's being attacked by like some big giant behemoth, and it's just, of course not. It's just a projection. And the art in this particular area is just so good. Like, I really enjoy it. And right when they start realizing that, oh, wait a minute, this is like witchcraft. This isn't real. This monster isn't here. And like these people are tricking us. They drink this potion that Merlin gives them that turns them invisible. And that's how they are able to break into Lady Roma's room, or wherever it is that this vase is at.
Yeah.
But of course, Lady Roma's there waiting for them. And she's like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, oh, we're stealing this vase that is super valuable and probably has mystical powers and can control the world. And she like laughs at him and is like, nope, it's just a vase. I just took it because I knew it'd make him mad and that he just wants it back. That's it. They're like, okay, well, can we have it? Or she's like, well, how about this? You can take the vase so you can give it to him and he won't kill you. And I'll teleport you where your friend is, but you're going to have to owe me a favor. And they're like, okay, sure, whatever. We're not coming back here, so bye. So there's an obvious setup for a future plot in this book. So yeah, that's we take a break from that arc and we check in on a few of our younger New Mutants. We have No Girl, Cosmar, Rainboy, and Anole trying more of their like synergy. I think they name it this one. No Girl, Cosmar synergy, consciousness exchange, mutant to flower. So they've literally put Rainboy's consciousness into a Krakoan flower. And he comes out and he was like, I think I was trying to photosynthesize. They're like, what? He's like, yeah, like I couldn't move like on my own, like I couldn't like move my petals or something, but I could feel movement in my being, which was pretty trippy, like just thinking about that. But then Anole goes like, I got an idea. And so he goes and talks to my favorite character in New Mutants right now, the Honey Badger, and basically he's like, hey, you know X Factor? You know about that body farm? And she's like, yeah, I do. Well, he's like, maybe we could get a body or something.
Jesus.
He's like, the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And basically, they're wanting to do this consciousness transfer to see if they can literally put themselves into a different body and then control that body.
Oh boy.
Because this is the first time they've ever tried to, put someone else's consciousness in something else.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabby does not like this at all. She, questions the obvious moral problems of taking over a dead corpse and sort of like parading around on Earth as somebody's in somebody else's body that's not your identity, like especially a mutant, because that person's probably been resurrected, which means they're alive and out there, and so you're also in the same body out there. Like very obvious implications of how that could be a problem. And an old like kind of loses it on her a little bit and is like, it's very, very interesting language he uses. He basically says you're human passing, like
right.
You can pass and pretend as what you want others to think you are, but I can't. People can look at me and know that I am different. And he's just like, you can't understand that. And I think that's a really poignant examination of mutants that we haven't had so far on in this era. That I think this is a very appropriate book and a very appropriate writer to be writing about identity.
For sure.
Then we cut back to the girls. They are with Josh now. They're in Sevalith. I don't remember.
Sure.
One of the other world realms. And they come busting out and they're like, "Hey, leave our friend alone, get out of here." And he's like, What are you guys doing here? Like, what's up?
Yeah.
And they're like, "We're here to save you. You got lost and we're here to take you home." And he's like, "Yeah, no. Actually, I'm here on my own. I don't want to be here, or I don't want to go back with y'all at all. Like, this is where I want to be." They're like, "Don't you know how dangerous it is here? Like, you could die forever." And he's like, "Yeah, that's pretty much how I've lived my life.
Yeah.
Is thinking I could die forever." And I absolutely loved this part of the book because it's something I've been thinking of since we started this whole journey. Is like, do you really want to live forever?
Right.
Do you is it obviously if you knew you could just go throughout your life and just come back in a new body, I think you'd do some crazy shit and maybe die a few times, but do you want to live forever?
Yeah.
And the questions, they don't dive deep into the morality of that here, which I think is good. It just leaves it open-ended. But Josh is like, I'm okay with just living here and living a normal life and living with all of the dangers and consequences and things that it takes to just live one life.
Right.
So yeah, I really liked that part.
Well,
I really enjoyed it.
What was cool about that is it shows at least the projection of the fact that most mutants have become spoiled, right?
For sure.
They fear death, or at least the ones that are presented in the book. They fear death. So now that they have this trump card, they don't want it to go away. And I can't blame anybody for that.
No,
sounds awesome, but like you said, Josh has this very cool clarity of it in the sense that we've only had this for not even a year, and
it's definitely a less than a year time in their time
for sure. And so it's just kind of this is a new thing. I
find it really interesting to juxtapose this with what happened with Pixie in Way of X last week,
right?
When Pixie literally purposefully shoved her head into a shotgun to get it blown off so that she could have her first time.
Right.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, that's weird.
And so I find it really refreshing to have these types of conversations brought to the forefront of the book. And then finally, because there's not enough going on in this book, we jump back to Danny and Sean basically talking about Karma, how Karma feels that she can feel her brother. Now, I'm not super I might get the intimate details of this wrong, but James, this is from her like very first appearance, which is in like an Amazing Spider-Man annual.
Whoa.
Where she basically her psychic powers. She has psychic powers, and her uncle and her brother are bad, or her uncle is bad guy, and has been shifting her brother to be bad, and she's been fighting for him to be good. And he, at the last moment, he is about to use psychic powers to like kill people, and she basically uses her powers to literally consume him. And so she consumes his consciousness into her.
Okay.
But from that point on, which was like 6 months to a year before New Mutants #1, like the first New Mutants, all the way up to about issue 60, where I'm at or so, he's never really talked about again. So it's just sort of like there. And so when they started talking about, she's like, I feel like I can hear him again. I was like, oh shit, like I seriously, I was like, she's gonna die, and then the brother's gonna come back. And sure enough, she asked Danny, will you be my partner in the Crucible?
Oh fuck.
And then that's how the issue ends. So I think we might see a long lost, really obscure mutant character come back.
That's cool.
And I'm just thinking that, haven't we heard about a guy that was real, but then kind of lost his own consciousness and was stuck in an area for a really long time, and then he came back and he had his own agency again, and he was really fucking pissed? Donald Blake.
I'm totally blanking. I am blanking.
The Thor thing.
Oh yes. God damn. I'm sorry. I'm in Mutants right now. I'm thinking. I'm not thinking.
Yes, I know. So I'm thinking Danny's gonna go in there, kill Karma in the Crucible fashion. Or of course, they're gonna set it up with Xavier, and dude's gonna come out fucking guns a-blazing. He's gonna be like,
shit,
I'm back in my body now, and you guys can go get fucked.
Hold on, I'm just gonna look up the covers, the next couple covers for New Mutants. Okay. I'll put this on really quick, just so we can see. So here's our current one. The next issue is obviously, well, it's Karma. Which, yeah. Looking for love in all the wrong places. The New Mutants' past seems simple. Train, guide, mentor the youth. Sure, they didn't ask for the job, but they have been figuring it out together, right? How long can it go? New Mutants are about to find out. So there's that. Then the next one's going to be the Gala. So wherever that goes.
Might not see this for a while then. Or, I mean, I could obviously totally miss it. I mean,
well, in July, the next one is Farouk over Gabby. And it's Weekend at Xavier's. In the heart of the wild hunt, schemers are dreaming, deceptions are coming to light, and the dead are walking. Just another day at Krakoa for the New Mutants.
That cover is fucking amazing.
Yes, it is. So, anyway, my breakdown, or my, just my overall review of the book is, I felt like this issue finally, I think Ayala finally figured, for me personally, figured out the pacing where you can fit 3 to 4 stories in one issue and make it feel oversized, even though it's only 28 pages. And it didn't feel rushed. That's what I'll say about this, is I really enjoyed this issue, and I felt like the pacing finally felt like it found its groove. It found its rhythm. Whereas the previous 2 to 3 issues, I was just like, whoa, like we are flying through this shit, and we're packing in so much information, and I just felt like it did a good job in this one.
So really quickly, I know we're going off on a long tangent here, but I just was looking at, I was like, maybe, did they mention anything about this in the synopsis? This is not the synopsis for the issue that we got fully.
Really?
It says, what's left over when you go home? With a mutant child lost in Otherworld, it's up to the New Mutants to find and extract him. Makes sense. Without losing themselves in the process. Meanwhile, on Krakoa, Warlock makes a friend, Wolfsbane makes a friend, and Magic makes some enemies.
Nope.
Warlock and Magic are not in this issue at all.
Nope.
So I'm very curious what got cut and what we're missing, and who dropped that shit. Who dropped the ball on that? Because that's really weird to me.
That is weird.
Anyway,
Well, I enjoyed it.
I did too.
Also, does it look like on the cover? Doesn't that look like the nanny? Doesn't that look like Nanny's suit in pink?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Like sideways.
Yeah.
Weird.
I don't know. Weird stuff.
Weird.
Anyway, that is New Mutants number 17. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Wow.
Okay, next we've got Beta Ray Bill number 2 by Daniel Warren
Johnson.
This is my pick of the week.
That's Jim's pick of the week.
Yeah.
I'm sure it sounds great.
It sounds amazing. Yeah, dude. This book's freaking dope.
Yeah, this missed my pick of the week by like a
fraction.
nose hair.
Yeah. So, we left off Beta with leaving Asgard to find Odin so that he could create him a new weapon so he doesn't no longer have to have horse face when he wants to have sex. That's the gist of it.
That's pretty much it.
Because he got stood up by Sif, Sif, and he wants to, we got needs, man. So we open the book with Beta playing ping pong in his in Scuttlebutt, and the ship informs him that they have a visitor on the ship. And so he's like, what the fuck? We'll go find out. And, 1 page in, we get that. 2 pages in, we get a killer. Chopped up, look inside of the ship. Him trying to find the intruder. And I probably looked at this two-page spread for maybe 20 minutes. Just looking at all the details. And I'm almost certain that he put himself in the book. That Warren put himself in the book, for sure.
Oh, he did for sure. No, he did. Yeah.
There's he's in a little part of the ship actually drawing the comic.
Yes. Yeah. Right by the stairs.
Yep. And then the other cool thing that I know there's other Easter eggs in here that I don't know what they mean. But one of the cool things in here is you see Murder Falcon in one of the rooms too. One of his other comics from Image. Just above where he's drawing, there's Murder Falcon and the kid that's playing the guitar. He is also in this book, which I thought was really cool.
Which is right next to the room that says Marvel Editorial.
Yeah. So, just, attention to detail, killer. Warren's blown out of the park. So, Beta Ray is trying to find somebody, and he stumbles across, I don't know how to say this dude's name. Scourge? Scourge. Who is the gun-loving Asgardian.
Yeah.
Who died in a previous issue. I don't remember where he died. But anyway, he has come from Valhalla to join Beta Ray in his quest to get a new weapon so that he can become whole again. And when Beta's like, how did you fucking know that? And he's like, well, I kind of was eavesdropping on you getting fucking friend zoned by Sif in the previous issue. He's like, you
dirty, man.
Yeah, he's like, you saw that? And he's like, yep. But really, what's Scourge is upset about is the fact that in Valhalla you can pick up almost any weapon except they have no guns, and it pisses him off. Like, he's just super pissed. He's like, there's no fucking guns in Valhalla. So I decided to come back here and help you. So, Beta Ray's like, well, here, this is what we need to do. I need to find Odin. Scourge is like, oh yeah, I know exactly where he is. And so we go back to the bar that we were actually in Thor, a previous issue of Thor, where Valkyrie found Odin to help him fight Donald Blake. And he's like, let's just wait here. I'm pretty sure the old man's here. And when they get to the bar, a bunch of people are just like, nah, not here. Like, y'all are fucking ugly. Like, basically, guys looking for a fight. And so what we get is what we see on this cover, essentially just a bunch of punks fighting.
Yeah.
And just full on, there's just multiple pages of just ass kickery. Really cool. And at one point it looks like Beta's actually going to get fucked up. And before, things get really hectic. Oh, also Pip shows up and helps him out. And
probably my favorite part of the book.
yeah, and he's kind of on this self journey too. And I don't know much about Pip, but I feel like, well, we'll get to it in the book. I'll get to what I feel like at the end of the book. But anyway, he shows up and helps. And before they can really get into some really tough shit, Odin shows up, and he basically makes it sound like this is his bar, or at least he kind of like pseudo owns the bar.
Right.
He tells everybody to fuck off. And so we ensue with the conversation with Beta, and Beta's like, I need you to make me a new weapon. And Odin's like, look, man, I'm just drunk now. I'm not the Allfather. I don't have those powers. Sorry, I wish I could help. And Beta's like, fuck no. You're going to help me. Even if you don't have your powers, you're going to help me get something that's going to get me back to who I was and what I could do. And he basically, Odin's like, all right, fine. I got something that can help you, possibly, but you may lose everything in the process, and you may end up being a completely different person by the end of this journey. So just a heads up.
Just so you know.
He basically sends him, or tells him to go to, now remind me how to say this, Mustafilm?
Yeah, Mustafilm.
Mustafilm, which is where Surtur lives. And
well, it's where he did live.
Or where he did live. And basically, if they go there, he will get the sword of Surtur, which is the Twilight Blade. Or Twilight, the blade of the demon god Surtur. Badass looking sword. And so that's the game. That's what we need to do. But Odin basically says, by the way, though, I've locked up... You can't get there via Bifrost. There's only one way to get there. And I created basically a fortress around the portal to get there. So it's not going to be easy. And I've also set up guards at this place that will not let anyone in. So you're going to have my blessing, but they're not going to let you out if anything shitty happens to you. So just a heads up, like, this is basically a suicide mission. And so they, they're getting ready to go. We have a conversation. Pip has a conversation with Beta and is like, why are you here with me? Why are you deciding to go on this trip with me? And Pip is like, hey, how's it going, Brent? Thanks for joining us tonight. He basically tells him that, like, he's kind of on this journey too of, like, not really loving himself. He feels like an outcast, and he feels like he can be like himself with Beta, right? Like he looks up to Beta, and Beta's like full on breaking down. He's not having, in my mind, at least for the reader, it's like he's not this hero that Pip looks at him as he is.
Right.
He's flawed, and he's got image issues, and he's got relationship issues, and he's just not this strong cyborg Thor-like character. He's vulnerable, and right. I think Pip is seeing that, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but he's seeing it. And so they take Scuttlebutt to the Citadel, or I don't know what they called it, but again, Daniel Warren Johnson's just attention to detail, like, holy shit, that's so good. They get to the portal, and it's just this like circular castle fortress, and you're just like, damn, son, like, this is so cyberpunk / like D&D. Like, it's just, there's so much going on here. And so they get to the Citadel, and Odin's I don't even know how to describe these guys, like cyborg Ronin knight space knights.
Yeah, sure.
Show up, and they're like, halt.
To me, when I looked at him, I was like, that is a direct homage to Jack Kirby. Like,
oh,
the way those designs right there are straight out of it.
Big time.
Him looking at Eternals and Celestials and going, yep, got to do this.
For sure. And like the coloring on them are great. And so they basically tell him, like, listen, Odin let us know that you were coming, but just giving you a heads up, you go in and you're changed, we're probably going to kill you. So
yeah,
be warned. And so at that point, Beta's like, nope, I'm going in alone. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Let's go. And Scourge is like, hell no, man. I'm going in. Like, I'm here for adventure. And then same thing with Pip. He kind of reiterates the fact that he's dealing with a lot of issues too. He has nothing to lose, and he wants to help Beta. at this point, again, I don't know a lot about Pip. I don't have really any knowledge about him, but me as a new reader, I get a little bit of, I don't know, man. I get a little, I sense a betrayal, if that makes any sense.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I hope not.
I don't see that at all. Pip is really, I mean, he came to prominence in the late 70s with Warlock and Gamora and Drax in their like first adventures, and he was like the bumbling oaf comic relief of that book. No, I definitely don't see anything nefarious with him at all.
I mean, but that would be epic if he did.
I mean, I would not be happy with that. So I'm just gonna not think about that.
Okay, well, I'm throwing it out there. Anyway, so they all agree that they're going on this trip. They go through the gate. Scuttlebutt goes through, and as they're going, the ship, Scuttlebutt's like, and inside the ship, we see something being constructed inside the ship. And when they're trying to go figure out what it is, a robot shows up, or well, the ship shuts down. That's the thing. Like, engines shut off, all functionality shuts off. And while they're trying to figure it out, a robot appears and is like, Beta, it's me, Scuttlebutt. And now we have a actual humanoid version of Scuttlebutt at the end of the book, and that's how the book ends. Just epic, man. I'm so glad this miniseries is happening. I'm so glad that Daniel Warren Johnson is on this book. I just feel like he really put his heart and soul in this book, and just really took the time to make every detail important. And I think for me, the most important thing, and I think I say this all the time about books, is my pick of the week has to just completely surround me. You know, the story, the writing, the visuals, the coloring, the pacing, and I felt like this
shit moment.
Yeah, and it had an oh shit moment, like multiple oh shit moments, visual, like it was all over the board. It checked all the boxes, just like issue 1. And I felt like I just picked up this issue and I wasn't like, wait, what happened in the last issue? I was like, no, I remember, and I remember I wanted to know what happened immediately, and so it was just like continuing it, and I loved it. So I don't know, man. I'm the only thing if there's any kind of criticism that this is a 5-issue miniseries.
Right. I wish this was an ongoing for sure.
No doubt, and maybe, you know, who knows? Maybe we'll get it. But I thoroughly enjoyed this book.
Yep. It missed my pick of the week by just the tiniest bit.
Anyway, that's Beta Ray Bill number 2. Daniel R. Johnson, if you see this segment and you just grace us with your presence, please give us a like, because you're fucking killing it, bro. And like I said, this is
Jim's pick of the week.
It's my pick of the week.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So next up we have from Dan Slott, Fantastic Four number 31.
Yeah. So this issue, I feel like Slott's maybe finally getting back to some actual Fantastic Four stories, like little, I guess I should say classic Fantastic Four stories. Basically, we have Ben and Reed going on like a little friends getaway trip through the Forever Gate. You know, Reed's basically thinking that they can use this as like you know, so much crap has been going on. Empire happened, and then King in Black happened right after that, and it's just been crazy. And you know, Ben's got the new kids that he's looking after, and you know, this will be a good time for them to get away. So they jump through the portal, and then we get a little heart-to-heart moment between Nikki and Alicia. Now, at first, I was like straight up when Nikki like kind of hovers over. I can't remember the boy's name. Oh, Joven.
Yeah. Joven.
And was like, "You're my enemy, and I was sworn to kill you, but maybe tomorrow." I was just like, is this supposed to show us that she's getting over it, or is this supposed to show us that she's like getting
ready,
more hateful and is like about to get ready to strike? Like, I genuinely don't know. Like, I thought like they were pretty much over all that crap, and then this happened. I was like, wait, what? Like, is she about to kill him?
Yeah, I took it as comedic relief. Like, just.
Oh, see, I was like, chill out. Anyway, Nikki basically tells Alicia a story. You know, in earlier episodes, she refers to her as like her angel or something like that. She tells her a story about like the very few times that she used to get reprieve from the constant training day and night. She would go to this area where they would keep aliens in suspension. And there's this alien that was just like floating there that looks exactly like Alicia. And then, you know, now here she is and she's her mom and, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of a little hard moment, but for some reason to me it kind of felt a little weird.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
That's
then we jump back to the boys in space. Reed gets like super excited because he's like finding all the solutions to these like crazy science problems. He's like, oh my god, I'm calculating all these quantum mathematics that I didn't understand, and like this realm has everything. It's amazing. And Ben's like, yeah, it's usually about this time that shit shows up. I gotta start punching. And of course that makes things show up that need punching. Now one of those is a construct that looks like Fin Fang Foom. I'm not sure who the other one is supposed to look like. I don't know if you caught notice of that or not.
I don't know. You know, I couldn't. I got the Fin Fang Foom, but I didn't know who that was.
Yeah. But before they could really get into it, we cut again to a third little segment of the story where Bentley looks like he's going to go to Valeria and finally tell her how he feels about her. And before he gets the chance, she basically says that she's super happy or super thankful for Prince Arboro, who we met in the first arc of this run, and I'm super thankful for him because he broke my heart, and now I know I don't have time for this boy girl bullshit. Like all I have to do is just just focus and do my work and, you know, protect the world and come up with all these gadgets and stuff. I don't have time for boys.
I hate them. Yeah,
I hate them. And Bentley's like,
damn it. yeah.
So he uses the Forever Gate to jump to Prince Arborio's, and I'm just not realizing that guy's name is Arise.
Yeah.
His name's Arborio.
Arborio.
Oh, that's funny. Basically uses the Forever Gate to literally go and like kick him, and was like, that's for breaking Valeria's heart. And storms back away again. The issue is that when he uses that Forever Gate, it uses up all the rest of the energy that Reed and Ben were supposed to use to come back. And so now that they're getting into the punching and the fighting, and they're like, all right, shit, let's get out of here. There's no more energy left. And so they're forced to, you know, stay there and actually fight. And it's not until Reed realizes that, hey, like what's happening here is a manifestation of our desires or our thoughts, not desires, but our thoughts, just like what's in the forefront of our mind. And, you know, we have to essentially think our way out of here. Ben's like, yeah, you know, that's really hard to think when you're trying not to think, because you don't want things, you know, you don't want to think of things. And basically he's like trying to not think of the premonition that he saw, the future that he saw where he kills Reed. But of course that's exactly what he thinks of. And so there's a projection of that scene. And so Reed's literally able to like see what is in Ben's head. And, you know, I don't remember exactly what it is that Ben says. Like, I can't believe you did this to me or something like that. Yeah. And you took everything from me. That's what he says. And, you know, it's kind of awkward, but they basically kind of just like, okay, we just got to get out of here. And they think up of a Forever Gate on their side and get back to the Baxter building.
That was a pretty comics moment. Like,
yes, it was.
Oh, we'll never get back.
Yeah. And then like 2 seconds later, they're like, okay, we're back.
No consequence.
At one point in there was like a half-page flash where like Franklin is climbing into one of the Fantastic cars, and Sue's like, "Hey, where you going?" He's like, "I'm going for a drive." And she's like, "You're not authorized." And he gets in, and the computer's like, "Authorization confirmed." And then he flies away. And she's like,
Yeah.
"What the hell? I forgot he got his license."
Hormones.
It was kind of weird. And then so the issue finally wraps up with them like, "Hey, we think you need to go to a therapist," which, don't get me wrong, not knock therapy at all. I go myself. But this part felt so weird to me. It just, like, that's not where we were going with this issue at all. Like, it's just not
what was in there.
We were doing the relationship with Nikki and Alicia. We were doing the relationship with Bentley and Valeria. We were doing the relationship with Ben and Reed. And then now we're also tacking in this at the very end, Franklin going to a therapist. And to make it even more strange, they take him to a mutant named Trauma, who transforms into your worst fear, which is just Franklin. So Franklin's worst fear is himself. And so they sit down to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. This part of the book I struggled with. I didn't really understand why this was here.
Right.
Because honestly, what it feels like to me is that we're doing one of two things. Dan Slott's either trying to set up the retcon from his retcon to fix his mistake, or he's going to try to like butter us up to like accept it. And I'm not down for any of that. I just, when we don't focus on Franklin at all and I can forget about what he did to him, I feel like I can be okay with Slott's run.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, since Empire ended, all of the issues in between, including the King of Black tie-ins, this run's been kind of hurting my feelings a little bit, kind of bumming me out.
Your feelings.
It's okay, but it was not great.
Let me ask you this, because it was something that we kind of jumped over. So when Bentley goes and does the whole, like, I'm going to kick the Rice Prince's ass, after he goes back into the Forever Gate, somebody shows up. It's called the Wizard. What's that about?
Oh, right. So Bentley is a
clone
or an android clone or something of that guy, of the Wizard. And he's the only one to survive. There were 23 created, and he was the 23rd. That's why he's Bentley 23.
Gotcha.
And so it looks like that guy is going to be popping up as well. Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about that.
I just did, like, when that happened, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I'm very unfamiliar with that. That was introduced in Hickman's run back in 2008, 2009 era.
Gotcha.
So, but I am not familiar.
No, I agree with you. I think everything was pretty smooth except for the Franklin thing, and I think that's partially because of our bias and the fact that we're pissed that he's not a mutant technically, based off of Slott's information, which I still don't believe. And I choose to believe that he's still a mutant. Anyway, yeah, that part was just kind of like, it was an oh shit moment in the sense that he was going to a therapist who created that, like you said, his fear is himself, but it did feel completely out of the realm of even this cover. Like, it's just like, where'd that come from? And yeah. I think you're right. I think it's one of two things. It's either Dan retconning his retcon, or he's, like you said, buttering up the fan base to say, now we're going to accept the fact that Franklin is not a mutant. And no, I'm not down for it. So
right.
Positive though, RB Silva, you're doing an amazing fucking job.
Yeah, the interiors were very nice. The cosmic spaceways that Ben and Reed were in were very cool.
Yeah, it's he's killing it, and the only thing I could say is I wish he was back on an next book, but I'll take it. I'm gonna take it whatever he's on. I'm gonna read it. So
yeah,
he could be doing the power pack, and I'd read it. Anyway, that's Fantastic Four 31. I think next up we actually get Doom getting married, so we'll have to see how that goes. Next up, we've got Silk number 2. This is going to be a quick one. Really, like I said before, I'm really enjoying Silk, even though we're only 2 issues in. I'm enjoying it. I don't know a lot about Silk, so this is kind of a nice, like, I don't want to say reintroduction, but it's an introduction to the character to me, more specifically. So we continue Cindy Moon dealing with working a new job with Jonah, and also being Jonah's bodyguard, and also trying to solve murders. And so that's what we get in this book. And basically, this new villain is taking out gangs with this demon cat, this monster demon cat that's actually a folklore monster from Japanese mythology. So that was kind of cool. I didn't know that. And so this new character, this new gang head of a gang group, is sicking this demon cat onto other gangs. And so Silk is trying to figure out why. And, she's at one point, she actually encounters the giant cat. She fights it. She gets her ass kicked. She breaks a couple ribs. I think what this book does really well is illustrates the fact that it's not this easygoing thing for superheroes to like go out at night, fight, and then live their normal life, right? Like they have to deal with the ramifications of their fights. And I think the broken rib thing is a good example of that, because she gets her ass handed to her, and one of her colleagues is actually there, and he sees that happen, right? And then when she's at work and she tries to get up, she's like, ugh! And the guy's like, "You good?" And she's like bad tacos, sorry. Whereas it's actually broken ribs. And I feel like somebody at some point is going to connect the dots, whether it's that coworker or Jonah or whatever. But there's still some mystery and intrigue in this book. We still don't know why the new gang leader is sicking this demon cat on people. But overall, I thought this book was really fun, and I think it continues to push the boundaries of the new book. I think it's intriguing. I think it's written really well. I think the artwork is fun. It's not balls to the wall crazy artwork, but I think it's good. I don't think it does not distract me from the book. And I know a lot of people are upset that it has too many similarities to the actual Spider-Man book, and I think that's hogwash. I think that's total. I think people are just. I think it's easy to shit on a Spider book right now, and we won't say why, but we know why. We definitely know why.
You won't say whose book you're talking about?
No, no. Nope, I'm not going to say it. Spencer.
Okay.
Anyway, I think Silk. I think the team that's writing Silk and illustrating Silk is doing a great job, and I'm going to continue to read it. I don't want to give away too much. I think if you're not reading Silk right now, I think you need to go pick it up. I think it's worth your time. I think if you're, unless, like I said, you're just tired of spider stories, and I completely understand why, but I think this is a good story. I think it's worth the pickup. So,
yeah. Yes.
I don't want to give too much away. I want people to go pick it up and read it. So that's Silk number 5. I'm sorry, number 2. Sorry, not 5. Let me look at one thing really quick before I close out that, because I want to make sure. I can't remember how it ended. Oh yeah, there is a betrayal here. I forget about this. So Silk sees, we're talking about therapy. She actually sees a therapist, and when she goes to talk to her therapist, it's been changed on her. So this is at the end of the book. It's someone new, and she's pissed about it. But then the person that she's going to talk to is a real cutie, and she's like, "Oh, well, let's have our session." And so she has her session with her therapist, and I guess the previous therapist already knows that she's Silk, and so she drops subtle hints with the therapist. And the guy's like, "All right, well, it was a good talk. I'll see you next time." After it's over, the dude gets on his phone, and he ends up calling the new mob boss, the chick that's the mob boss. And he's like, "The fuck are you doing? Like, I talked to this chick, and she's clearly Silk, and why are you hiring a demon cat to kill other gangs?" And so she's kind of like, "Don't worry about it. I got it taken care of." And then the last panel is the demon cat basically performing a seance over a dead body, and I think it's getting ready to resurrect an army of demon zombie cats. So it got a little weird, but again, I think it's great. And then also on top of that, these covers are so good. I really like these covers. Also, I like Silk's costume design. I think she as somebody that is a creative director for a company, I feel like the design overall of her costume is really kick-ass, and I just like that she's not, wearing a complete mask. I like that there's, I like the hair flow. I like the red with the black and the white. It's a cool character design too. So,
Yep.
Also the name. I think Silk is a kick-ass name for a superhero. So, go pick it up.
Go do it.
Next up, we have Amazing Spider-Man: The Curse of the Man-Thing #1. This will also be a quick one. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand why this one's called Amazing Spider-Man, because once again we still have the Avengers and Captain America dominating the story here.
Spider-Man's in it.
He's in it, but that doesn't mean there were other people besides the Avengers in the first issue, but
right,
it's still called the Avengers. Basically, the Avengers are fighting a bunch of spores and plant growths that are popping up all over the world. It looks exactly like Empire. It's literally just Empire.
I gotta wonder if this was supposed to be a Empire tie-in, like a 3-parter, so. And maybe Man-Thing got corrupted by the. I'm just saying, probably.
Maybe. That would make sense, right? That he's plant matter and he'd get corrupted. Remember Man-Thing is in one of the tie-ins. He's in the Avengers tie-in. He shows up for a split second in the Savage Lands and then just bounces out.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, so while the Avengers are fighting the growths, Spider-Man, of course, shows up in New York to help. Horticulture finds, I can't remember what her name is, the Harrower, and they try to stop her. Her Aunt Ophelia or whatever her name is, she's like, I'm disappointed in you, can't believe you're doing this, and they're not able to stop her. She flushes them down a toilet or something like that.
That's exactly, you're right.
That's
you're
exactly what happens.
Flushes them down a toilet.
Basically, Captain America, Steve Rogers is inside the Man-Thing in the consciousness realm with the guy that's inside. The scientist.
So it's Dr. Theodore Sales.
Yeah, him. And he's like, hey, I'm not the guy that created the serum. It's this other guy. You got to go find him. So Cap bursts out and goes to Empire State University to meet with the other guy. And he's like, hey, so this guy said that you made the serum and that you can fix it. And he's like,
No.
Okay. And then before much can happen, the part of the actual body of the Man-Thing that he brings sucks this doctor in with him and is like, hey, why did you lie to Captain America about me making this thing? I didn't make this thing. And I didn't really understand, honestly, if their confrontation, the doctor's confrontation within the Man-Thing. I didn't really understand it.
The way I took it is, so they're both doctors who experimented on themselves, right?
Yeah.
And I think Theodore thought that the guy who is the lizard had, well, he didn't know he was a lizard. That's the other thing that's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But he's trying, I think from my understanding of it, is Theodore, outside of the Harrower taking advantage of Man-Thing and using him as a weapon, Theodore he has issues. He's having a internal crisis, quite literally, with inside the Man-Thing. And so I think he wanted to talk to that doctor because they were friends, but also to find a cure. I don't think he wants to be a part of the Man-Thing anymore. And in his pursuit to, I don't know, justify his creation in the serum, he ended up losing his wife and his entire family. So I think he was trying to see if he could bring his life back in this issue. But then he comes to a harsh reality that his friend is the lizard, and so he's a monster too. And he's like, "No, get out! You're just as corrupt as me." And banishes him, and then they bring in Spider-Man. No, Spider-Man was before the lizard. No, Spider-Man was after the lizard.
They bring Spider-Man in, yeah.
So then Spider-Man and Theodore have a talk, and it's just a sit down, again, a very centric therapeutic therapy session. And Spider-Man's just well, well, clearly you're upset about the fact that you lost, you gave away your entire life and your family for this entire situation. Like, you should probably just rectify that.
Right.
And so then Theodore's like, I know what I need to do now, and kicks Spider-Man out.
Mm-hmm.
He resurrects himself. The Man-Thing is able to, like, kind of juke off the Harrower's, like, spell over him. And so he goes back to, I guess, his old apartment, or his old office. And it appears that he's going to try to resurrect his wife. And he does he does a weird, like, ritual where he, like, pulls out, like, a blood bead out of his chest. Like, it's I don't know a lot about Man-Thing, so I don't know if he has demon aspects to him or not.
I don't know. But
he goes back to their office and he's, like, he's trying to summon her, and he does this, like, ritual, and this, it doesn't work, air quotes. And then as it kind of peters out, someone goes, expecting someone else? You should know better, doctor. Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. And Magic is sitting there going, like, time to figure out what the hell you're doing. And that, out of this entire book, it was a meh book, but that part was really cool when she shows up, because she just looks so sinister. Like, why are you calling the Queen of Limbo? Like, why are you?
Yeah.
What's up, dog?
For the first issue, I was like, this is kind of interesting. This is intriguing. I don't know much about Man-Thing. Sure, yeah. This one just fell so flat that I'll pick up the last one just because I have to see how it ends, and it's just one more issue. But, like, if this was, like, an ongoing, I would have been like, bye. Out.
Yeah, this one was strange.
Maybe we're missing it just because we're not well versed in Man-Thing. But
as a tune, yeah. It was okay. It was okay. I was expecting something different. Hopefully the horticulture will get unflushed, because I did like that part. And since we're doing X-Men next, maybe we will see them be a little bit more pronounced in the next issue.
Yeah.
So that is Amazing Spider-Man: Curse of the Man-Thing #1. Yeah. We are done with Marvel. Next up, Action Comics Superman 1030.
Bro, things are getting intense with the Supermans.
Yeah, man.
Now, again, super novice Superman reader.
It's okay.
Especially me. Like, no movies, no cartoons, no nothing. I just don't know.
No Future State.
No Future State. No. So when Mongol shows up at the very beginning of this book, I'm like, that looks pretty cool. Guy seems like he's probably badass, but I don't know. Like, apparently, like, he's like one of the strongest villains of DC, or
one of the big baddies. Yeah,
one of the big bads. But this isn't the Mongol of. I think he's the guy that's responsible for destroying Coast City in the 90s.
Sure.
Which is where Hal Jordan is from. That's what, and like that's like when he turns into Parallax and does all this weird shit. Doesn't matter.
I know that one.
Apparently that was this dude's dad that did that Mongol. This is the other Mongol, the son.
Mongol Jr.
Yeah, Mongol. But basically we get this, like, really creepy, like, Mongol sitting on his throne, and there's all these people worshiping him, and they're all chained. They got chains all over their hands. And there's this guy that's, like, whacking people with a stick, and I don't know, it's kind of wild. But then a shadowy figure comes and is like, the guy that's all chained up and hitting people with sticks, like, who dares comes in here with his hands unchained to the Lord? It's all
very Monty Python.
And this guy basically walks in and just fucking tosses 3 heads on the ground. He's like, oh, I come bearing gifts. Here's my first one. And everyone's like, oh, he's a traitor. Kill him. And Mongol's like, wait. Be quiet. Did you just kill all my sons so they couldn't usurp me, which is like the tradition of all the Mongols. We always usurp our fathers and kill them. But you just killed all my boys, so now I can be the ruler forever? That's fucking dope, dude. I appreciate that. Like,
thanks,
that's
bro. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Love you. I love you 3000, bro. Like, thanks.
Oh. He's like, yeah. But you said you had more than one gift, though, right? Like, that was cool, but
what else you got?
And so he basically is like, War World isn't, what you think it could be, and there's secrets, and the key to mastering it is the one who lives far away from here, and it's Superman flying. Because, of course it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we get Superman basically running like a little test fight, little test course.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's punching and kicking and flying and eye bursting and doing all those things. It turns out that Superman and is that the Atom?
Yes.
Superman and the Atom, who I've literally I didn't know that was a character until
Or Batman and the Atom, not Superman.
Batman.
Superman.
Sorry, Batman and the Atom.
Yep.
Who I don't even know who that is. Apparently he's a Golden Age guy, but he's not big.
He can shrink. He's like Ant-Man.
Okay, got it. And
That might be an oversimplification, but like he's a scientist. He can shrink down. Blah blah blah.
That's perfect. Superman gets in. He's like, "Yeah, what do we think?" And Batman's like, "It's not what we hoped for. We hope for better." I'm Batman, and I wish it was better.
Batman.
And Adam's like, "Man, it's not that bad. Like, it's all right. He's crazy. Don't worry about it."
Yeah. Why so dark, bro?
But they're basically like, ever since what happened in that first little, 2-issue arc from Johnson between Superman and Action, where he gets attacked by those aliens from the portal, he's been a little off. Not like he's still strong, he can still fly, he can still shoot his laser beams, but he's just not, he's at like 92%. But he doesn't feel like, he feels like he should be at 100%. He feels fine. And so they're basically, keeping up with them and seeing what's going on. And then he makes the obvious point. He's like, we got to keep, Superman said, we got to keep this to ourselves, because if Luthor or Darkseid were to find out, they'd totally come kick my ass and I'd totally lose. So let's not do that.
I thought that part was cool, because then Batman's like, well, we need to go talk to your son, because he may need to be on the League. And I was like, oh, like that's a low blow, bro. Like, yeah,
that was pretty well. In Batman's like super business, right? He's just like, doesn't matter if this hurts your feelings,
right?
or not.
Like that's the next thing to do.
If you can't fulfill the role of Superman on the team, we need a Superman on the team. So we need to go talk to your boy.
Yeah, and Ken takes it personally.
Yeah. And so then we get a little scene between the two Super Sons. Damian and John are sitting on a roof having some lunch. And, honestly, I completely forgot this conversation happened. No, I turned the page and was like, oh, shit.
That's okay.
But I remember they were basically talking about, like, he was saying, Damian was saying, like, how do you know that your dad's going to not die or not be able to be Superman anymore, and,
right.
And he kind of reminds him about being in the future and stuff like that. And he says, I'm worried, like it's about this time that stories of my dad sort of fall off. They have a basic idea, but that was in the year like 3000 or something, so far in the future that this era of history is not exactly known. And so this is basically like a highlight story, almost like letting you know what happened in those first two arcs, or those first two books. If you didn't know, he says a couple of weeks ago, the tear in space-time opened up and it hurt my dad and blah, blah, blah.
Which I kind of liked, me personally. I don't know how you felt about it, because I didn't read those issues. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, it felt very
fluid to me. It didn't feel like, oh my God, they're just trying to like, just catch readers up. No, it felt very fluid. It's basically just the two friends talking about John, like being like, shit, man, I might have to actually become Superman, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if that's where I'm at right now. And
Damian's like, grow the fuck up. It doesn't matter what you want.
Yeah. But of course, Damian, being the hard ass that he is just like, he's like, obviously I don't want your dad to die, and I'm sorry you're feeling messed up about it, but like, unlike him, you were literally born to do this. Which I don't know. I felt that was a little unfair.
Yeah.
He said, "Your will fills, or you will fill your dad's shoes some days. Nobody can stop it, not even you."
Damn.
And I was like, man, I don't know about that. Like, I think John has the ability to buck the trip.
I also think it's just Damien because like if you think about, and we don't, again, we're learning more about these characters as we go. Like this is a new journey for us, right? But like from the limited knowledge that we have of Damien, like Damien, that's been his, not with Batman, but with his mother, like his entire upbringing. Like, you were bred for this moment. It doesn't matter what you want. Like, you will always succeed to fight in the Flying Lotus Lazarus pit thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's his thing. So it's kind of ingrained into his being. So now he's just kind of projecting that on John, and John's just like, bro, man, I just want to fly. Like,
right. Then we cut to a scene with Clark and Lois, where Lois is in a like a simulation of a Kryptonian library.
Was that who that was? That's Lois?
Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was somebody else.
No, it's Lois.
I thought they were being scandalous. Okay.
Oh, no. No, it's just Lois. Apparently she is writing a book about Krypton or Kryptonians or something to that effect. And she was in a simulation, simulating a library so that she could see what it was like. But that nice little moment is interrupted by Superman's robot Kellex, and he's basically like, there's some like people in the atmosphere, like some intruders, like some ships, you might want to go look. And Superman flies out, and it's just like a fucking armada coming down on Earth. Like, it's pretty intense, like a huge ship, just like fucking
very Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yes, but very much the opposite style wise. It's very
sure.
refined, very. And I think this is a great juxtaposition, and that both of these are amazing, and neither one is better than the other.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
I definitely dig like space pirate battleships in the sky. Like that's you're gonna get me every time with that.
Right. And so Superman, flies towards them, and he sends out a little alert calling for John, Kara, and Connor, and it's basically like, hey, if any of y'all are around, like, we've got a pretty bad situation up there. And of course John's there, and he flies up and is like, yo, what's going on? And he's like, hey, we gotta fuck some spaceships up, man. Let's do it. So they fight some spaceships for a while, and then right when they're trying to take them out, they open up rips the side off. Superman rips the side off of one of the ships. It lands inside and realizes that the people inside are speaking a dead Kryptonian language.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, what?
¿Por qué?
And that's the end of the issue. So we've got some weird ancient Kryptonian people that are coming in on this invasion.
So just to let you know, at least one of those characters is definitely in the House of L Future State book. So
yeah, the guy in the back that's in the chains.
Yes.
Yeah.
He also fucking gets his head blown off in the Future State House.
Oh, well, spoiler alert.
Well, if you'd read it, dude's like the coolest one, and it's just like,
I didn't realize that I had to read it.
Yeah, I told you to. I literally said if you're gonna get into Spider-Man,
I didn't know you were gonna spoil it for me.
If you're gonna get into Superman, you need to go read House of L because it's really cool, but then it ends really shitty.
I really enjoyed this issue. I thought it was written really well. It flowed really well. I feel like as a new reader to Superman, I don't feel lost where I'm going like, wait, what are they talking about? Like, what's going on? Like, there is enough cool references to things in the past that make it seem like, man, I might like to learn about that sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like John being on the Legion in the year 3000, but like, it's not necessary to know that to understand what's going on or enjoy what's going on here. Mm-hmm. Plus, I super enjoy sci-fi aspects of comics when you can take a character like Superman, to me, that just seems very vanilla humdrum, and then he's dealing with like fucking space pirates, and it's like Monty Python in space and Superman. I'm totally down for that. So
everything you said I agree with. Like I had no like yearning to read a Superman book.
Mm-hmm.
And this issue alone has been like, I could read Superman. I don't know. I think I've had that. Me personally, I've had that view on DC Comics when we started, right? And so this to me was like, dude, this is cool. Like, I don't know. We're not. I guess it's because like classic DC stories of Superman and Batman are like, catch that bank robber, right? And this didn't feel like that. It felt like a space saga, an epic that Johnson's just starting to introduce us to. And like when I read House of L, I was like, what is this? This is so cool. And I'm super excited that Johnson will continue to elaborate that story in Superman Action Comics. So I'm all for it. I liked it. I thought the artwork was killer. I love this cover. It just didn't feel like the Superman that my dad grew up with and that he would tell me about. You know, and that might upset some DC fans, right? You know, I think Ron is more of a Superman or a DC. His flavor is DC more than Marvel. And I think we've asked him that, and he's like, "Well, I like DC more." Like, and this is his. And I think when Brent, I think I asked that question when they were doing one of those questionnaire episodes on Facebook Live. You know, halfway through the pandemic. And I think Brent was like, "I'm more of a Marvel guy," and Ron was like, "I'm more of a DC guy." And I've always looked at DC Comics as like just kind of classic. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just always been like classic superhero stories of get the Joker, see, you know, like that kind of style. And this book is not that. Like Johnson has definitely elevated Superman out of that genre. Whatever that's worth. I could be totally off on that, and you can kill me in the comments. I don't care. But I
mean, Superman does have a long history of dealing with space and aliens, but it seems like that was more Golden and Silver Age stuff, and more, slapstick almost, or right. I don't know. That's the perception I have. But
no, I agree. I think
we could be wrong.
We could be, but I agree with that assessment. But anyway, I'm with you. I thought this was a really good issue.
Yep.
I will be adding it to my pool.
Nice.
Next up, Batman Detective Comics 1035. Tinian's Batman is, I don't know how, they're definitely separate in the sense of the style, I guess you could say. I mean, they're obviously both dealing with like crime solving and all that jazz, which is fine. But this one, I wouldn't say feels more classic, but it just doesn't, the tone is different, and not in a bad way.
It's almost like it's like the Batman one is dealing more with like Batman stuff, like stuff going on in the Batman world, and then the detective one is dealing more with like him being like a detective.
Yeah, in Gotham.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, no, I think you're onto something there. I know you're being facetious, but like in Batman, it's more of like about Batman and the Batman family. In Detective Comics, it's more of Batman dealing with Gotham's problems and him not being the center of it. He's just kind of there. So we get more of the dichotomy of Gotham and like the hierarchy and the families and the mayor and all that jazz. So that's what we get in this book. And so in the previous issue, one of his neighbors got kidnapped. And what we find out in this issue is that they did. They got... She done got murdered.
Okay, one thing I want to say really quickly. So I've been... I wanted to catch up on Tinian's run, so I've been reading the previous issues, trying to catch up. Joker War right now. One thing that I am super enjoying about DC Comics that we don't get in Marvel very much, people getting fucked up and dying.
Like bad, right?
Like this woman gets murdered.
Not murdered.
Like
murdered.
Moided. And not that I think that murder's cool, but sometimes it helps your stories feel like you have more weight when
consequence. Yeah,
there's consequence. Whenever instead of it's like, oh, the King in Black is invading New York City and he takes it over and everyone's infected, and oh well, now the symbiotes are gone. And everyone's like, what? Oh, I was infected by a symbiote, but whatever. I was going to get a cheeseburger, so now I'm going back. It's like, okay, it's fine. But like Joker War, or not Joker War, but the Infinite Frontier, with the Joker attack on the asylum, and everyone's just like fucking dead. Like everyone's on the ground, like, Like,
Yeah, I'm smiling, but yeah.
To me, it feels like it has more weight. Anyway,
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. So, like I said in the previous issue, one of the neighbors who was like part of a wealthy family who had like telecommunication businesses got kidnapped. We find out in this book she's done dead. Found in the sewer by Batman, all tied up and bloodied in a bag, like bruh. And you know, it's kind of uncharacteristic of Batman, but he didn't like, you know, I think it speaks to his not condition, but his circumstance. And so he's just kind of missing a step in the sense that his timing is just a little bit off, right? So when he finds the body, he's like, oh shit, body. And while he's analyzing it, he realizes that the cops are literally like 5 steps away behind him. And I think like if Batman, who still had Alfred, who still had his resources, or at least the unlimited amount of resources, probably would have gotten there maybe 10 seconds sooner to analyze the crime scene and not technically get caught, because that's what happens. He gets caught by the cops. They're like, fucking stand down, get out, do not resist. Whatever. Yeah, and then they start shooting at him. And so he's got to do his Batman thing and get away, right? But it kind of felt a little, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I think it just shows like his circumstance, that he's just not on his game right now. And so he escapes from the cops. One of them shoots a bullet, it ricochets and hits him in the arm, and they blame it on Batman. So fuck. And we come to find out that the Batman, or that the woman that was killed was the daughter of Mr. Worth, which is the Worth family apparently was like the number 2 family in Gotham that helped build the city, right? But they may not have as pure intentions as the Waynes, and so dude's pissed, and Worth basically at the funeral is like, I'm not going to grieve until I find my vengeance. And, you know, he already has connections with the mayor. I'm pretty sure the mayor has told him that they think Batman did it because the cops saw him there. Yeah. So I think Mr. Worth is going to be going after Batman here soon. As it doesn't happen in this issue. But anyway, you know, after all that jazz happens, you have Batman trying to connect the dots, and he realizes that the lady, his I think her husband, is acting out of character, and he's acting paranoid. And so he confronts him in an alleyway, and he realizes that it looks like he's on something, like he is tripping bows. And you know, he ends up like the dude tries to shoot Batman. He disarms him. He actually takes him to the police and drops him off. We cut back to the mayor, and he has an aide who's also acting funky, and it looks like he's on something too. And so, you know, we're getting this little connection here of something is up, something is going wrong, something is going on in the city of Gotham, and it looks like it's a drug that is hitting the city, and it's affecting high-level people. So, you know, these two instances happen. We actually get an encounter with the Huntress, and I don't quite understand that part of the book. Like, she's basically doing all the stuff that Batman's missing, is, you know, what she's doing.
Kinda, yeah.
You know, she's out there. And again, I don't know who the Huntress is.
Oh boy, is it convoluted.
Is she related to Batman?
Or not this one.
Okay.
There is a version. No.
Okay.
No. There is a version of the Huntress that is her. That she is the daughter of Batman and Catwoman from Earth 2. That is not this Huntress though. This is the New 52 version of that Huntress without the being from Earth 2 and Batman Daddy part.
But
she was the
mommy?
No.
Okay.
That part also was left out. She's basically the daughter of a crime lord who was raped, and then they retconned the rape away, and then she went to a boarding school, and then her family was killed, and then she wanted to get vengeance on her family, and then she became a villain, but was really quickly turned good by Batman, and then she became the Huntress, I think.
Got it. She has one panel in this book. So there's that.
She also has a backup story.
She does, and I didn't read it. Say what?
It's good. You would enjoy it.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. You can get to that. Then we cut back to Sam, who is the husband of the dude who was on something, and he's at the police station, and they're like, "Yeah, this dude just got let on our steps, and he looks like he's fucking high." So there's that. Then we cut to Bruce walking back to his apartment, and he's just kind of like trying to figure shit out. He's just talking shit through his head, and before he can get to his apartment, someone's like, and he turns the fucking corner. And it's the lady, it's the girl that died, and she's got gray eyes, and she's like, Kaya! Ah, ah. She looks like a fucking zombie. And he's like, Sarah? And that's how...
Sarah?
Sarah? Is that you, Sarah, bro? Sarah.
Yeah.
And so the issue goes, next, what died didn't stay dead. So that is the conclusion of that story in Batman Detective Comics.
Yeah, I was flying through this issue. I thought it was really cool. It's super obscure, but I was like, as soon as the Huntress popped up, I was like, hell yeah, because I read Hush last month, which has Huntress in it just a touch. Yeah. And then I just listened to the Geek History podcast lesson about Huntress, which is just the most fucked up thing in the world because there's 4 versions of her and they've all been retconned inside themselves. So there's actually like 10 different versions.
Oh my god!
And so when she showed up here, I was like, hell yeah! I just want to see what Huntress we're working with right now, because that issue of the pod, or that episode of the podcast came out in like 2017. So this is already a different version of Huntress again. And
Jaden says, I do not like the new version of her character. Nathan, I fucking love her. Jaden.
No,
I'm
not saying I love her. I'm saying it's awesome that she showed up here.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Because I just watched all this stuff about her. I don't know anything about her. Besides, I'm pretty sure that this version that's right here is still the version that was the daughter of a crime lord who... her parents end up getting killed, and she arms herself to go, and initially her purpose is to go murder that other family, but then Batman gets hold of her and steers her right or something like that.
Right. Don't kill.
Don't kill.
Yeah, either way.
Anyway, that's not what I was going to say. You got me off track there.
No.
I was super on board with this issue. Really enjoyed it. Huntress showed up. I was like, yeah. And then we got a zombie in the last issue, and I was like, all right, Tamaki. These first 2 issues have been fucking dope. I'm going to give you some huge slack. But I swear to God, like, you do zombies right now in Batman? Like, of all the things that you can do, you're going to do zombies on me? Like, if this zombies arc does not go fantastic, gone. You don't. You're
going to be out? You're just going to dip out?
You can't. If you're going to do zombies, I mean, we've done, like... Zombies is done. Like, we're done with zombies. I don't need zombies.
At least it's not. Hey, but at least it's not fucking vampires. I can do zombies over vampires any day.
I can too.
And who knows? It might not be zombies. It might be. Maybe she's still alive.
Okay, buddy.
Whatever. Anyway,
what I'm saying is I'm not worried about it. But
okay, I liked it. Like you said, you liked it. I really enjoyed the artwork. I am pleasantly surprised. I think it's crazy to me that Batman and Superman were both like, oh yeah, dude, all day, and it's just weird because like we were so like anti DC, and now we're like, fuck, I love this. So, it's cool.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, that is Detective Comics 1035. Next up, we have Harley Quinn #2. What's crazy is I'm reading this book and you're like more knowledgeable about Harley Quinn than I am. Like, you know more about what the fuck happened to her in Joker War.
Well, because I literally am in the middle of reading the book.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, anyway.
Have you started that, by the way?
Hold on, Jade. No, I have not. I will do that this weekend. Jaden says also vampires fit more in Batman comic. Damn it.
That's kind of true, actually.
No, I don't like. Anyway, Harley Quinn #2. It's just this continuation of Harley Quinn trying to figure out her place in the world, if she's going to be a good guy or not. It seems like she's committed to doing that still, 2 issues in. She's saving rejects and/or people of that have lost something in the Joker War, mostly the clowns in Joker War. She's got her friend Kevin in this book who reluctantly committed a crime and actually killed people on accident, but not really, but did in this book. The big thing in this book is, so when we did our comic book haul, I forgot who the new villain was in this book, or who not the new villain, but the main villain in this book. And it was Hugo Boss, who is, I think I'm saying that right, is like this scientist who actually knows the identity of Batman. And he's just a real sinister dude. And so with Arkham gone, and this book is established a new correctional facility called Safe, that is, the object of it is to reform people who were clowns in the Joker War, and to make them straight, make them good again. Not straight, that was bad form. Just no longer a clown. Yeah. But it's being abused. So there's like a hotline that you can call and say like, oh, so and so is a clown, come get them and make them better. And people are. It's kind of like the McCarthy thing, where like you get blacklisted just because like Hugo Strange, not Hugo Boss. What am I saying Boss for? Hugo Strange. I'm so dumb. Thank you, John. Shows how much we don't know about DC. Right. Anyway, what we find out is that people are calling the hotline and just like taking vengeance on their like people they don't like. And so like one guy gets called in and he's like, I'm not a clown. Like I wasn't part of the Joker War. I'm in the wrong place. And Hugo's like, doesn't matter. And he commits him to the facility and like puts like a drug in his eye and he's like, bye. Yeah. And then one of Hugo's henchmen is like, hey, Harley Quinn's on the move. She's coming after you. And he's like, perfect. Now we'll go get her. And so she almost gets caught. She fights her way off, and she's building this little posse of like rejects to kind of rectify what they did wrong. Whether they were with the Joker or during the Joker War. But Hugo is out to basically, in a nutshell, Hugo is out to get Harley Quinn. Like that's his whale. That's his white whale. Yeah. And so she's still kicking ass. No Batman in this issue. No Ghostmaker, which is fine. I'm still pleasantly surprised with this book. I like the artwork. It reminds me of Johnson's work over at Marvel. It's sloppy but still refined and colorful, and the transitions between art is good, and the writing's good. I'm enjoying it, and I don't know obviously I really don't know much about Harley Quinn or even the DC verse, but I am enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think I'll probably appreciate it even more after I read the Joker War. Yeah. But overall, fun. Go ahead. Really
quick, how do you? So I know you said that you kind of compared the art to Daniel Warren Johnson. I don't know if you've seen, but like a lot of people are complaining about the art in this book.
Yeah, I know. I don't get that.
Like, I think even Robbie over at Pop Culture Philosophers was like, the story is good. Was it him? It might have been someone else, but they were like, the story is good and I want to know what's going on, but the art's so bad I'm not picking it up anymore. And I was like, whoa, that's like that.
I don't agree with that assessment. Bad. No, it's not bad.
Is the cover artist the same as the interior artist?
I believe so.
So like this image I'm seeing is a good representation of what the inside looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I don't get that. That seems strange to me.
I think it looks great. And maybe it's because like there aren't a lot of DC books that use this art style. They're probably
I was just about to say, like, if you look at all of the other DC books we have going right now, they're all a lot more refined. So maybe DC readers are a little bit more just into the refined style and not. I don't know.
No, you're probably right, but I think this. I like it. I think it looks great. I think it looks awesome. I don't think it looks sloppy. I think it's its own style, and it's gritty, and I think it looks great, and it's. I think it represents Harley Quinn very well. I think it represents what goes on in her brain. You know what I mean? Like her mind state, and I think that's how she sees the world. And I think it works. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think and that's not a criticism towards DC fans. I just think that they're used to a certain art style, and this is just not typical DC art. And you know, this may hinder or DC may not use the style anymore in their books. And I would say, hey, I'm a Marvel reader, and I would not be upset if you like this would keep me here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Harley Quinn #2, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I enjoyed the artwork, sorry, and the coloring on it is really good too. So,
right on.
That's Harley Quinn #2. What? Did I?
Oh no, bro.
Please hold for technical difficulties. Oh shit! All right, we're gonna take a little break while I fix this.
Up. I mean, do you want me to just talk about the book while?
No, I want to put it on there.
Okay, bud.
We're gonna take a little break. Sorry, guys. Well, our next book was supposed to be Robin, but I fucked up.
Robin.
I done fucked up. So it'll be real quick. So there we go. So we do this, replace. You know what? I'll do this, and then while you're talking, I can do that. I can fix it. I can fix it. I promise.
I don't understand what you were
just wait until I. How do I save? Where's save? Save as. Where's the save as? I don't see it. Am I dumb? Wait, it's right there. Oh my god.
Don't answer, everybody.
There it is. Okay, talk.
Talking. I am talking. Okay, so
we're doing. Oh wait, hold on. Next up is Robin #1. Here we go.
Great. No YouTube. There was no technical difficulties.
No technical difficulties.
Everything was perfect.
It was fine. Seamless. Flawless.
So yeah, we got issue #1 where we find out that Damian is missing. Batman's got everybody. He's got Dick Grayson. He's got, what is that, Tim Drake. He's got the Oracle, and I don't know who that's supposed to be to the left of the Oracle. Do you have any idea who that's supposed to be?
No, because I'm not paying attention because I'm trying to fix the show.
Okay, great. Everybody is looking for. Everybody's looking for Robin.
Slow down. Okay, which one?
To the left of the Oracle, between Tim Drake and Oracle.
It looks like Batgirl, and then I don't know who that is.
Great. Anyway,
that was so important.
You know where Robin is? He's wearing a badass new costume, like Jaden said, and he is fighting the King Snake, boxing the shit out of him. Whoa. Even though apparently the guy's blind, I mean that's kind of messed up.
Yeah,
but he's also apparently Bane's father. What? There's a lot of weird things. There's a lot of things. Yeah, for guys that don't know what's up with these characters, I was like, whoa, this guy's name's King Snake. That's cool, and he's got a snake tattoo. And then like, oh, but he's blind. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Catch a break.
But apparently he's supposed to be a good fighter or whatever. But Damian beats the shit out of him and knocks his teeth out, and he gets his coin. You know, that'll get him.
I got the coin
on his journey. And he has a little conversation with Alfred in his head, and it's really sad because everybody misses Alfred. We're always talking about Alfred. I'm honestly curious to see how long they're going to allow Alfred to be dead.
Well, okay, but how are you going to bring him back?
How do you ever bring anyone back? Lazarus pit. Put his body in the Lazarus pit. Boom.
Well, they are fighting in the Lazarus. Aren't they fighting in like a Lazarus tournament? So maybe you're right.
Yes.
This is where it's...
Lazarus pit. But he has a little heart-to-heart with Alfred before he is summoned to get on the ship that is going to take him to what is it called? I don't remember. It's Lazarus. Oh, Lazarus Island. Duh. Of course, that's what it's called.
Duh.
Lazarus Island. And so yeah, everyone's like, "Hey, who's the little kid? Like, what the hell? If, like, we're gonna have to beat the shit out of a little kid." And so yeah, they get to Lazarus Island, and of course Damien like starts making fun of people. I don't know who. So there's a character called Respawn here, and Damien says, "Nice copyright infringement."
Oh yeah,
now,
I like that.
Is he supposed to look like
I think
Deathstroke?
I thought Deadpool. I thought it was
Okay.
Deadpool.
I thought it was Dead. I couldn't tell if it was Deadpool or if it was Deathstroke, because I know Deathstroke's colors are different, but it looked similar to him as well.
I don't know. Yeah.
So maybe, who knows?
It's one of the guys. Swords.
What? Oh, swords. Yeah, swords. So they basically show up, and this woman's like, "Yeah, I'm the host of the tournament, and we're gonna do all these nice, fancy things." And blah, blah, blah. David's like, "Yeah, you talk too much. I thought we came here to fight." And he like fucking flings off his cape and is like, "Let's fucking go." And she's like, "Okay, well,
Right.
someone want to fight this asshole or what?" And someone steps up, and it's oh my god, first appearance. It's a key issue. Go out and buy one for $30, quick. Sorry, I just
Is that true? I didn't know that. I thought that I didn't know.
Yeah, this Flatline. This is
That's a new character.
Whoever this is. I mean, yeah, she probably won't end up being much, but
Whatever. She's gonna be the next one.
DC is just like this is not a complaint or this is just an observation, but like there are just so many new characters coming out, and everybody's just so hungry to like buy the key issue at cover price so that one day it can be worth $1 million, and it's like just read the book. It's really
that's the problem with like our friend Mark. Like he's like, man, I want to pick up Batman 106. I was like, ha, good luck, bro. Like,
well, I'm at this point, pick up a second or third printing.
Well, you can't even get like, okay, let's say Nightwing 78. You can't get it, or is it 79? Huh?
79.
Yeah, 79.
Gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
We'll get a third print. It doesn't matter. Anyway, we have a super muted fight between Flatline and Damien, because she's like, "Yeah, nice move. Hiya, I'm gonna kick your ass. Welcome to Lazarus Island, bitch," and then rips his heart out.
When that happened,
I mean, literally, you turn the page, and then she's like, got fucking heart in hand. It's like,
you fight to the death, bitch. That's what that is. And
then the woman says, "All right, one down." Like, yep, okay. Well, Damien's
when
dead.
that happened, when the issue ended that way, I told you, I was like, man, this was a really cool one-off. Like
one shot. Yeah,
it's just a one shot. Obviously, it's not. But
that's how you end Damian Wayne. He is gone. Goodbye.
But how funny would it be if if Robin just ended and like that character just died on the first issue and that it just keeps going?
That was it.
I
liked it. No, I really liked this issue. It was a little short. It didn't not a lot happened.
Is that a short joke? Because he's so short.
He's like fucking 14 years old. He's supposed to be a little kid.
I know.
Anyway, it was a short book, but it was a quick. It was a quick book. That's what I should say. It went by quickly.
Felt like
a lot of action. But I'm interested in Damien. I don't know if I'm gonna like him as a character or not, or he might be like one of the guys that you love to hate. I don't like that phrase, but you know what I mean. Like just the guy that's like kind of annoying, but like you kind of like the difference.
I think they shut him up quickly enough that he may like actually grow as a character in this book. Like, because like clearly he was just like a little shit who was super arrogant and kind of rightfully so. And then Flatline came in and be like, "Whatcha? I have your heart." And we'll see. We'll see if that actually happened, or if it's like she's got some kind of like psychic ability that makes
makes you think that she did this, but she didn't actually really do it. And yeah. So who knows? But it was a good first issue. I'm definitely going to pick up the next one. See where it goes.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it a lot. All right, next up we have Teen Titans Academy #2. This is exactly what I said it was in Comic Book Hall. We are dealing with Red X. He is terrorizing the school. Quick up. Jaden says he's a dick in Teen Titans, but in here I think he's better. Got it. I mean, yeah, he came off kind of dicky. Anyway, in this issue, again, we have this mystery student or somebody who is Red X. The more and my theory is that Red X was actually Dick Grayson. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
But in this issue, it may not. But the only person that's actually seen him is Nightwing. So I don't know. But he shows up in this issue. He's still fucking around in the tower, and Nightwing thinks it's one of the students. There's a student in here who is a new Flash character, and they go by the name Bolt, but they're actually an amputee. They have blades, like they have the running blades. So she is connected to the Speed Force, and she's kind of a central figure in this book. But essentially, Red X is doing something in the tower and messing with things, and it's pissing off Nightwing. And so Nightwing at some point cancels kind of classes to talk to everybody, and to basically say like, hey, if you have the Red Wing costume and mask, give it up. This is not what the Academy is about. It's just not that. And he calls the assembly, nobody comes forth, and while he actually fights Red Wing at one point, or Red X, and he escapes, and this is where I'm like, again, he's the only one that's seen him. No one else has seen him.
Right.
And so I'm just kind of like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, is he pulling one over everybody, and he's like just doing it for the dramatic? I don't know. But the interesting part about this book is the Bolt character is contacted by somebody saying they owe them something. This person is trying to get into the Academy, and the person that is calling, I think, is the head of Suicide Squad. So it sounds like whoever, I forget the name of the character who's in charge of the Suicide Squad, but was able to get her into the Academy. And so now she's trying to get information out of the Academy through Bolt. And Bolt's not having it. She's like, no, I did this on my own. I got in here on my own merit. You didn't help me, blah, blah, blah. And so this book cuts from like the present to the past to the present. And the book ends with Bolt in her wheelchair, so she doesn't have her blades on, running away from something, and Red X is there to save the day. And he's like, she thinks that she's gonna get killed by Red X, and he's like, would you shut up? I'm trying to save your life. And she turns to look at who is chasing her, and it's the Suicide Squad. It's Peacemaker, Superboy, and Night Owl or Havoc, I forget his name. And so they're coming to get her to reap the reward of what she's doing there. I don't know. It's a big cliffhanger, because I told you like Teen Titan Academy and Suicide Squad are gonna like kind of interweave these next two issues. Yeah. But it was really cool to like see Red X like defend her, and he's literally throwing like spiked Red X's.
That's funny.
I fucking love Red X. I just think he's a cool character, and I'm really happy that you can see him in the comics, because he just looks like a fucking badass. But anyway, that's this book in a nutshell. Like, we're continuing this Red X mystery within the Teen Titans Academy, and what I liked about this issue is like, yeah, we have a bunch of new students, right? But we really focused in on one in this issue, and that's Bolt. So we got some cool character development with a new character, which I thought was really cool. So I think as this series progresses, yes, we're gonna get more insight into the original Teen Titans team as teachers, because we do get like a Nightwing and Starfire like smoky moment, but also kind of like a kind of jealous moment, which I thought was kind of cool, because he talks about being in his city fighting crime, and the fact that Oracle is with him, and Starfire doesn't like that because she doesn't want anybody hitting up on her man, which is kind of cool. But this book is filled with a bunch of stuff, and you may not necessarily have a deep knowledge of Teen Titans like us, but I'm still enjoying it. And the fact that Red X is like the main drive of the book, I think is really cool, because like we've said, he's only had his presence felt in the cartoon, And now that you're getting like a more legit version of Red X, it's really cool, and I just think it's a cool character altogether. So, very excited to see where this book goes.
Nice.
And you didn't read this, so
I did not read this. No, I did not read this one.
Anyway, I'm excited. I really can't wait for Suicide Squad and then the next issue, number 3. So that is Teen Titans Academy number 2.
Oh yeah, you're picking that up too. So you'll.
Yeah.
So this crossover is just naturally fits into your pool.
Yep.
Perfect.
There's that. So we are done with our DC books, and we are on to our independents, and we're starting with Berserker number 2 from Boom Studios.
So this one is going to be short and sweet.
Yeah.
And good. This is basically the origin story of the Berserker, whatever his name is. I can't remember his name, but
I think it's
B. Yeah, that's what they call it, B. This is basically his origin story. Like 84,000 years ago, there was a nomadic tribe, or not a nomadic tribe.
Wait. I thought 3,000 years ago we had dinosaurs.
Okay.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
I almost said some things.
Go ahead.
Let me guess. The Earth is flat too, right?
Yeah. Hey, well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh yeah, we're not there yet. My bad.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
So a long time ago, we have like a prehistoric tribe that is constantly getting raided by another tribe and getting their shit fucked up by them. And they're like, hey, we don't like this. We don't want this to happen anymore. And so some woman's like, hey, got an idea. Got these gods. I'm going to go pray to them. I'm going to do a little mixy mix, little trippy balls, and I'm going to go see what I can do. And they're like, yeah, you go play with your gods in the cave, you crazy lady. Well, she goes in there. She does the mixy mix, the snippy sniff. Apparently she fucks a god.
No, I don't think she fucks a god. She gets fucked by a god.
Okay, whatever. We get an immaculate conception here, buddy. This through and through an immaculate conception.
Yep.
And he's born in like record time, like I don't know, like a month or something. And pretty soon after he develops and can, just barely even walk, he develops his bloodlust. He's got a taste for the kill, a taste for the blood. He's got I think the first animal he ever takes out is like a coyote. He like rips its throat out. So like, shit, we got to get this guy. We got to get him a trainer to like get him to like be able to calm down and channel his feelings. Yeah. Huh?
Nothing. I just thought it was funny. Trainer. Like I thought of like a dog. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Someone to help him. And well, that guy gets fucking mutilated and it gets his arm ripped off and his face eaten off. So there's that. And as he grows up, he basically, very quickly, much more quickly than is normal. He becomes a young adolescent and he's fucking killing all kinds of giant animals and fighting bears and eating their hearts out and doing all kinds of crazy shit, ripping cheetahs in half at one point, like literally. The amount of like gore in this issue is, honestly, it's probably 50% less than the first issue.
They didn't let up though.
But that's what I was going to say is like when it happens, it's still just super extreme. And so it turns out this is the answer, right? This is the answer that they're looking for. He is their savior. He is the person that's supposed to be there to save their tribe. And, the big warring tribe shows up again to raid them. And he's standing there with a fucking axe that's as big as he is and a spear in the other hand. And we get the typical what you would expect from Berserker bloody fight. Just splattering everyone. We literally get the exact same thing where he punches through a man's face, like straight out the back of his head. You see teeth flying out of the back of his head and everything.
The one I like is where he punches a dude in the chest and his spine explodes out of his back.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Explodes.
Like, all of his ribs explode backwards out of his head. And at the end of the fight, he's got like 30 arrows in his back. And he's just sitting there and he's like, yeah, I'm okay. And he says, I remember that day now. I remember having parents, having a tribe, having purpose. And I remember that being the last time that I was ever truly happy.
Yeah.
So I think maybe next issue we're going to get an origin part 2, see what happens after. Because obviously he's not going to die. He either ages extremely slowly or doesn't really age
Yeah. At a
appropriately
certain point, he stops aging.
or stops aging something, and so he's going to outlive these parents in this tribe. And I think this first entire arc, however many issues it is, I think is going to be like, you know, issues 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe are going to be him through time. I think it'd be kind of cool if we get like an issue where it's him in like medieval times, and then a him in like Enlightenment times, and then him in like World War One, and then him in World War Two. Like,
you know, the fact that Keanu the Keanu's associated with this book, obviously, I really kind of hope, because Keanu's always like, he's into like samurai in Japan. Oh my god, I hope he goes to Japan. Like that would be
cool if there's like a feudal Japan issue. That'd be pretty
just
dope.
A Ronin. I mean, he has a samurai sword on the cover. It's on his right hip. So like, I bet we go there, because that would be so dope. But yeah, this book is fucking cool.
If you liked the first issue, you'll like the second issue. If the first issue turned you off, whether it was for the violence or the super short dialogue, or, you know, just the like super fast pace. If the first book turned you off, I would probably just say probably skip this. But
this book is dope.
If you like the first issue, you'll like this one for sure.
I'm definitely looking forward to the movie and the anime adaptation from Netflix. I think it's going to be a good time, a silly goose time. So that's Berserker number 2. Good job, Spoom. You're killing it. Keanu, you're killing it. Matt, you're killing it. Because you're also writing ENIAC, and we really love that book too. So
yes,
a dope. Anyway, if you're not reading this and you enjoy stuff like that, go pick it up. It's worth the read for sure. Next up, we got crossover number 6, the final issue in Donny Cates's crossover run. And that was important.
Why do you keep saying that?
Hold on. That's important to say. It's his final issue, because the next issue is by Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah, but not the whole run. It's not like Donny Cates is done with his book.
We don't know.
No, we literally do know.
Is there an issue 8 already? Is there an issue 8?
I don't know. I'm gonna go look right now while you do your synopsis on it. I don't. You just made this up.
No, I didn't.
At no point does it ever say that he only got 6 issues, and then now they're going to different artists. Different writers.
It was on Twitter. Chip Zdarsky's taking over.
Go ahead.
So we have crossover number 6 by Donny Cates. It's the end of his first arc.
Issue 8. Meanwhile, part 1. Donny Cates, Jeff Shaw, back to it as normal. Just a single issue.
When did that come out?
That comes out May, or what is this?
No,
it's solicited May 21st. I don't know when it comes out. It doesn't have a release date on it. They've literally got a cover for it right here. They've got a description for the issue. It says, after the massive events of that last arc, and not counting that weird random issue that Chip wrote, what the hell was that about? The adventure continues as new foes and new allies join the fold to uncover a deadly mystery beyond the walls of the dome, with special guest appearances by Redacted by Legal.
Anyway, crossover number 6.
So do you redact yourself now?
No. Anyway.
Wow. It's been a good run, boys.
Issue 6. The dome has exploded. Ellipses has Volfax, the sword, Volvax. Our male character, who I have no idea what his name is about to shoot the little comic book girl with a kryptonite bullet.
Seems
Ryan. Okay, what's crazy about this book is the beginning. So the book has been narrated by Donny Cates. Like, someone asked on Twitter, like, who's narrating this book? And he was like, it's me. And so as things are happening in this book, he's the narrator. Donny Cates is like, things are starting to go differently than he actually wrote them in the book. So we're getting super meta. And he's like, wait, this isn't how I wrote this. Why is it doing this? And it starts, the story starts shifting in a certain direction, and Donny Cates' voice literally disappears out of the book within the first 2 pages. He's like, bah. He just he gets dusted. He's gone. And so the story progresses. And so the whole goal of the book is to get the little girl into the dome to see her parents. And so Ellipsis is fighting with the sword. She's fucking kicking ass. She stops Ryan from shooting the girl and says, I really like you, but just don't get in my fucking way. And so they go into the dome and they see a myriad of characters from independent comic book writers, which I thought was really cool. I mean, I can't even name all of them because I don't know them, but I know that there are a shit ton there.
There's a couple of homages too, like like Galactus is in the back.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles.
Ton. Superman, like.
But if you're curious who all is directly in here, it's in the back. It literally has all the characters and where they're from in the back.
Yeah. Donnie's like, thank you for letting us play with your toys. So someone asked in this book, like, did you have to ask every individual writer to use their characters? And Donnie basically, in a Donnie way, was like, well, I just had to call my friends and they let me play with their toys. Like, that's what, Right. So yes, but he, it's Donnie Cates. So you're not going to say no. So anyway, they go in, there's complete chaos in the bubble. And at one point in the book, like when they go there, there's a character, and I don't know who the character is, but they see Ellipsis and they're like, he's like, you're not supposed to be here. This is not how it goes. Like you're not supposed to be here. Like this isn't how it's written. And she's like, huh? What are you talking about? And, they escape, they get into a room with a bunch of zombies. She's just slicing, hacking, and dicing. And it looks like the group is about to get killed by the zombies, and Hit Girl shows up from Kick-Ass. And so she saves the day. They leave the room. They get the comic book girl, into the portal. She goes and sees her parents. And as she goes in, Ellipses, we know that her parents are in the dome, right? So it looks like she's about to go in. And Otto's like, yo, don't go. Like, you don't want to go in there. That's a bad idea. Mm-hmm. And before they can to figure out where they're going to go, Superman, quote unquote, is fighting somebody else. And he, like, flies into a car. And a bunch of debris, like, breaks on him. And
that's the guy that gets thrown into the car.
Yeah. And
stands up. That's Buzzkill.
Buzzkill, got it.
From that Donny Cates book.
Gotcha.
The way he gets his powers is by being drunk or high.
I gotcha. So yeah, and he's like, I'm not high enough for this shit. And so he takes off or drunk. And then we find out that in the rubble, Otto got crushed by a rock. Mm-hmm. And so he tells Ryan, like, go get Ellipsis, get out of here. And he fades away and he dies. It's like, damn, son. Yep. So we get our first real loss in this book. Otto dies in this issue, and Ryan is able to escape with Ellie. We cut back to their apartment. They're right outside the dome, and Ryan's explaining to her what happened, and she's pissed. She's like, just fucking leave me alone. Like, I'm gonna go get washed up. So she goes into the bathroom, and she starts washing her hands, and you start seeing something, and you're like, what the fuck's that? And her hands are checkered, because it turns out that Ellie is actually a comic book character.
Yeah.
And
damn.
There she is. So,
and she's wearing an Invincible shirt.
So I don't know.
I mean, she has been, but still.
Right. I don't know if I don't know what character. We don't know what character she is. If she is from a Donny Cates or anybody else's property. But we find out that Ellie is actually a comic book character from the Dome. So her parents are there because her parents are comic book characters.
Right.
Yeah, she goes, my parents aren't from Denver, and that's how the issue ends. It's like dun dun dun. I enjoyed this issue. I felt like it was too fast. It went too quick.
Yeah, it didn't do a ton. But I think obviously I think what you were supposed to ride off of this issue was all the cameos and just be like, oh man, all these cameos are so cool, and they were cool. Like I think that this is a independent comic book lovers, I don't want to say wet dream, that's gross, but you know what I'm saying. This is a really the guy that you were talking about at first is from Black Hammer.
Yeah.
You get Savage Dragon in there. You got a Galactus guy in there. You've got 4 different.
Witchblade, I think, is in there.
Witchblade is in there. You've got Buzzkill, of course. You've got all the paybacks hanging out in there somewhere. You've got the Mike Allred character, who I can't remember his name. But...
I was expecting Spawn to be in here because the name of the arc is Kids Love Chains, and I was really surprised that Spawn didn't.
Yeah, maybe him and Todd are close, but not that close.
No, I think he'll be in another issue. I will predict it now that Spawn will, at some point, will be in crossover.
I wonder if crossover lasts long enough to cross over with Donny Cates' Spawn title.
I'm pretty sure it will.
I'm not saying it like it'll get canceled, just that maybe he'll be done with it by then. But
We'll see. Either way, I still love this concept. I think it's classic Donny Cates. Even though I don't know a lot of the characters, I'm still intrigued. Like, I'm glad we did our reading. Now I have to, like, Ron is going to order me an Tomahawk trade. And we actually looked in the wrong spot the other day. We were like, oh, it's Dark Horse. It's heavy metal. It was supposed to be a heavy metal trade, and because I talked to him today about it.
No,
dude, he says it exists, and I'm not gonna say that the guy that sponsors our show is wrong. So
I'm not saying he's wrong.
We'll see what happens, but either way, this makes me to like, I know that like the last Buzzkill trade left the shop, so I'm gonna have to go find the other one. But like, I really need to like get up to date on my Donny Cates reading.
Yes,
but I am, thank you for correcting me that there are more than after the Chip Zdarsky issue.
You're welcome.
And I'm looking forward to it because I'm really glad. I just like this idea. This idea is so kick-ass, and I love the fact that Donny came up with it. So again, the trade for the first 6 issues, I think it comes out next month. So
yeah, it's pretty soon.
If you haven't picked up the singles on this and you can't find them, the trade's coming out soon. I highly recommend picking it up. Crossover has been fun, and I'm glad that it's continuing. I'm very interested to see what happens in May with Chip Zdarsky, because technically Donny killed him off in the book. So we'll have to see where that goes. But that's crossover number 6. So
nice.
Next up, we have Department of Truth number 8.
Yeah. Do the thing.
That's dates.
Yeah. So close with beta.
Yep.
But I think it just
That's okay. Yeah.
Just got me.
And
just
see, it's flipped for me. Like, I'm just so close on this one.
Mm-hmm.
It almost got.
That's the gas. Pick it away.
Almost.
But it didn't.
Don't choose that as the thumbnail for this video.
Right, because this book is.
That's dates.
Right.
Pick it away.
There you go. Well, this has got a J by its name, by it. So go for it.
Oh, it does. Dang it!
Yeah,
Can you break it down because I won't do as well of a job.
So this issue basically starts out with a really interesting conversation between Lee Harvey Oswald and this other guy whose face
I think his name is Hawk or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And his face is always kind of obscured and stuff. I mean, they show it straight up at like one point, but like most of the time, yeah, Hawk, that's his name. Basically, this is the guy that goes in and helps them
rearrange
some history as it needs to be for the team. And they sort of, go back and forth about what he does. And then they say, there's this kid that there's these kids running around with, knife-handed nightmares and hockey mask serial killers on their t-shirts. Like, they're not really scared of things anymore. And they're saying, maybe we need to give the media a certain image, run them in the right direction. We've got a kid that we're watching out for that, needs to get pushed in the right direction, essentially. Mm-hmm. And he's like, all right, well, what's the kid's name? And he says, Cole Turner, which is our main character.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a really nice scene between Cole and his partner where they're walking through the Denver International Airport. And this is probably the reason why it was my favorite part, is because it was like a really in-depth analysis of the conspiracy theory of the Denver International Airport, which I've heard about often, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and so like I like reading about them in a really indiscriminate sort of like how these people are crazy kind of way. But like this really breaks down a lot of, so I'm not gonna sit there and go over like every last little thing, but
because they go fucking deep.
It's the majority of the comic, like them talking about like, oh well, you know, this is, everybody thinks that this is a sign about the New World Order, and you know, why did they build a building and then all of a sudden tear 2 parts of the building down, and just all this crazy shit. But basically they like go to this little hidden area, and it turns out that this is like one of the main areas where, man, I cannot remember anything from this book, the name wise. What's the bad group called? The
Black Hat.
Black Hat. This is where Black Hat has been, essentially creating their falsehoods, creating their fake news. I guess you could say.
Fake. That's exactly right. Fake news.
That's it. Creating their fake news. And he's like, he basically asks his partner, like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? And she's like, we're supposed to be meeting this Hawk guy. And while they're walking, who she does not like, she does not like at all. We get that pretty evident from the first part that Oswald doesn't like him either. Mm-hmm. And like they're walking around and seeing all of these like failed things that they've built, or like in progress things that they've made. Like they go into this one room, there's like reptilian creature, like humanoid creatures, like hanging in like giant embryos or something. Like it's really gross.
Super gross.
And she tells him, like, we think this is where they manifested your Starface man. And they're like, how could they have taken a nightmare from my childhood and made it real? Like, I don't even believe in him anymore. Like, and if he was supposed to be created from my mind, how can he be real? Like, this just doesn't make any sense. And then good old Hawk shows up. And, Hawk's like, oh, it's been too long since I've seen you. And she's like, no, it fucking hasn't. Leave me alone. Like, no, it hasn't. Go away. And yeah, Cole meets Hawk and is like, yeah, I heard you're supposed to be you're the big boy, you're the big guy, like, that can get things done. And Hawk says, I'm the motherfucking magic man of the Department of Truth. Don't ever forget it. And yeah, so basically it looks like Cole and Hawk are going to team up, and we're going to see just exactly what it is that Hawk does and what it is that he can do on creating his own fake news. So it doesn't seem like Black Cat's just the one that's out there purposefully manipulating reality. It seems like the Department of Truth has their own AWOL kind of guy, or like rogue kind of agent that good.
No, I was gonna say what's crazy about this is like not only does Cole's partner, or I don't know
Ruby,
how you describe her, Rudy. Yeah, I don't. She divulges some information that, like, you're like, wait, like you double take, you're like, what did you say? Like, what? Hold on. So she talks about the guys that she killed in the first book to save Cole. It was a bunch of these millionaires, and she's like, well, we have to cover it up somehow, right? And so she explains to him, like, we had to falsify and create new bodies so that each one of these dudes died not at the same time, right? These billionaires. So we had to cover that up, right? And that's small potatoes. And then she explains Hawk, and Hawk, like you said, is the enforcer. He's the guy that you'd bring in when like earth-shattering reality things happen, and he's able to just squash it. And so they called him in to get rid of the giant ice wall that was created by these men at the beginning of the series that were talking about the end of the earth. So he squashes that, right? But in her explanation to Cole, and I think as a reader you're supposed to pick up on this, is like, well, how can you trust that? Like, how can you trust that they're creating doppelgangers of these dead bodies to make it look like they actually died in the name of the Department of Truth? And so Cole in this issue is still like trying to figure out, is he working for the good guys? Who really are the good guys? Or are we all bad guys? And then you got Hawk walking in here, who's a complete wild card, who likes to what?
That's just a wild card.
Wild card. You know, it's you don't know what's up and what's down in this series, and I think that Tinian is playing that fiddle perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, you think you've got this book figured out, and it's like, nope, turning it upside down again. And you know, what a great time to get Simmons back on this book art-wise. You know what I mean? Like, not to say that the last 2 issues were bad, they weren't, but it was just kind of off because we got so. And what I find hilarious about that is when we first started this issue, we were like, I don't know about the art. Like, it's good, but it's kind of weird. And then he goes away for 2 issues, and you're like, fuck, I wish our artwork was back. And it is. But yeah, like, there's a lot of mythos being built in this book that just, it gets me more excited for the series because it means we're just gonna, there's so many rabbit holes we can go down, and it doesn't sound like this book is going to end anytime soon, and I'm totally for it. And then, like, I don't know if you saw the cover for the next issue, but it's like the Book of the Dead, and it's the lady with the X over her eyes putting her fingers over Cole's partner, and her eyes are turning into X's, and I'm like, oh no. Like, yeah, I just think we're going to be going all over the place. Like, this is literally the inception of comics right now. You know what I mean? Like, and then on top of that, this book has been optioned for either a movie or a series, and holy fuck, here we go. Like,
yeah. At
first I didn't really know if that was a good idea. Now I'm like, more money, please. Like, let's go. Like, I want to see it. So.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about it, and I honestly, like, you know, there was so many different elements to this book that I think were good, but I really enjoyed the off the wall, super deep explanation of the Denver airport conspiracy theory. That was definitely my favorite part.
I liked that, and it was a good part. I think that's where the book kind of, I'll be simplistic, and it kind of lost me a little bit. Like, my attention, I was like, okay, like. And I think that's the only reason why this wasn't my pick of the week. But I get why that was necessary.
I think that part of the book for some people is it or at least what it does for me is I start hearing this in-depth analysis of the conspiracy theory and like what the people that believe conspiracies think. And by the time I'm done reading it, then by the time we get to the point where she's like, and of course it's totally bullshit, I was like, wait a minute, what? Because it was like I found myself like, oh, this makes sense. Like, this totally makes sense. Like, okay, now I kind of get it. And then she's like, well, of course it's totally bullshit. And I'm like, oh yeah, of course it's bullshit.
Duh, like I didn't believe it for a second.
No way. Yeah. and I think that's what Tinian's trying to do. I think he's literally like trying to be so good at describing these things, and like, so you like, listen, you can twist anything to make it sound right or make it sound like it makes sense, but come on, this is bullshit.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I agree. That's badass. Well, that's Department of Truth number 8. I am definitely looking forward to issue 9. This is just a good book, man. If you're not reading Department of Truth, what you doing, bro? Like, fucking go pick up the trade and then read this one. So. Yep. And our last book of the night from Aftershock Comics, it is Nuclear Family number 3.
Nuclear.
Totally forgot this book was coming out, and you were like, you didn't pick it up? You fool! And so, luckily, we have friends at comic book stores, and they hooked brother up, so...
Yep.
Tell them about it.
So, this book opens up, it turns out that our family has been split up. The kids are being shown some type of propaganda movie, about how horrible communists are, and then it turns out that Daddy's getting tortured. He's in some kind of shower that they're like spraying him with some kind of glowing green shit.
Yeah.
They don't really say what it is, but it's like physically painful to him. At first, I thought they were putting him in there and like straight up fucking irradiating him. And I was like, well, what the fuck? Like, you're not gonna get anything doing that. But I don't know if it's like a really mild acid or whatever it is. It hurts. Getting tortured, and they're like, why are you a Russian spy? And he's like, not a Russian spy. We've been through this. And I think you can kind of tell that maybe he's starting to break through to his friend that doesn't remember him,
because he
Dan.
keeps on like throwing like random ass facts about him.
Yeah, he's like, if you're my friend, like, why don't I remember you? And then he was like, in 5th grade you broke your arm falling from it. And the guy's like, nope, turn the water back on, and then like storms away. So like I think he's finally starting to like get to him a little bit.
Well, also I think the friend is like, shit, I live in a nation where if there's just like an ounce of truth to what he's saying, they might think I'm Russian. So I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Right. I don't want to be implicated in him at all. And then we cut back to the kids, and some soldier comes by and has dinner for them and just sort of chunks it on the ground. Is like, here, eat it or not. I don't really care.
Oh, fuck her.
And the daughter has the wherewithal to like jump up and grab the tray real quick and shove it between the door before it can slam closed. And so they're actually able to escape for a second. And they start running down the hall, and there's like a guy there with a gun. They're like, oh shit. And they run the other way, and then there's a guy there, and they're like, oh shit. And then right before it looks like, they're going to get captured and thrown back in their cell, one of the soldiers gets hit over the head and knocked out. And then there's this other teenage boy just there, and he's like, hey, come in here. And he like steals the, key card off of the soldier, and they run into this little science room and lock themselves in there. And he's like, yeah, what'd y'all get in trouble for? Like, I got in trouble for stealing chocolate from the cafeteria. And she's like, you wouldn't believe it. And he's like,
try me.
Might as well tell me, we're locked in here. And she's like, okay, well, what if I told you we were from 1958 and we got here and the bombs, blah, blah. And he's like,
huh?
So you didn't steal candy, huh?
Yeah.
She's like, no, I'm being serious. And he's like, no, I believe you. he's like, that's just way too fucking crazy for you to have even made that up on the spot. So like, apparently, like, that's got to be true. And then we get a quick cut to Dad getting thrown into a cell. It turns out it's a cell right next to Mom, and they're like, basically just like, shit, what's going on? Like, what are we gonna do? Like, what even is this? And what about the kids? And about that time, Dan walks in and is like, or no, it's not Dan, it's the older guy that like runs the place, the mayor or whatever. He's walked in and is like, oh, your children got loose. So now parents know the children are loose. And then we go back to the kids. The soldiers look like they're about to break into the room, and this teenager boy is like, hey, we're gonna crawl through these vents to get out of here. And they're like, okay, so they do that, and they crawl through the vents. And then while they're trying to figure out where in the vents they want to go, the vents give out on them, and they fucking fall into a room. And
surprise! Zombies!
They fall into a room which looks, we've got 3 people strapped to tables sitting up. They look like zombies. And then in the background, there's a couple of science people in, what are those?
Hazmat suits.
And hazmat suits. And they're all like, oh, what? And all the zombies like, bah. And the next issue, next cover of the issue shows 2 like zombie guys like saluting and like,
uh-oh. I smell trouble in paradise.
Really?
Are you not happy with it?
I mean, this is why I was irritated with Batman too. Like, I read Batman or Detective way before this book.
Yeah.
But like, it's the same. It's just like, this is why I got irritated about Batman. It's like, okay, it's not a clever thought. It's not an original thought. And I know that it's hard to come up with original ideas. We're on Detective issue 1035. I get it, but like, we can put zombies to bed for at least 10 goddamn years. I mean, Walking Dead has done everything we all ever need to do about zombies.
It's a defined niche of people that fucking love zombies. Dude, they have zombie cons, man. Like, there have been people that have been deliberating that this whole shit that we're dealing with now is zombies, and that we're all going to turn into zombies if you got vaccinated. Like, it's not going anywhere, Nate.
It doesn't matter. I can still complain about it every time it shows up, and I can still call out a writer for piss poor writing when you just go, I guess I'm gonna do zombies now. Like, fuck you. Come up with something better.
Well,
than that.
listen. Hold on. There will be a day when you're making a beer and you will have the same thing. Fuck it, zombies. It's gonna happen.
The only reprieve that I'll give Stephanie Phillips for this book is that this is based off of a Philip K. Dick short story, and I don't know anything about that short story. So maybe that's zombies do show up, and in this case, total pass. No longer upset with her. But
I agree with you though. I think this is probably not this is probably the weakest out of the three that we have. That, you know, I went in with this book with high expectations because the first two books were so good. And I agree with you. At the end, I was like, zombies.
The first two issues did such a good job of creating a unique world. It was like, whoa, this is okay. The first one's like time travel, and you're like, whoa. Or the first, you know, and then it's like, okay, the second one builds like, okay, a post-nuclear society. It's been done before, but it felt like it had its own twist. It was like, okay, nice, like, great. And the only buildup that we get of this new world here is zombies. It's like,
and also the introduction of this young kid, this boy, like, who are you?
Like, he just shows up out of nowhere and is like, it's either fishy and he's entrapping them somehow, or it's just kind of crummy writing and he's just like a deus ex machina, like, just by the grace of God, now I'm here.
Right.
It's like, you know, it's almost like she wrote herself into a corner. She's like, well, how are they going to get out of this? Like,
well,
fuck.
We'll have to wait and see. Issue 4 or 5. Maybe we're jumping way too ahead, and that she has legit solves for all of these. We could be wrong. We could be right. We're going to have to see. We're not going to quit on it. We're going to keep going.
No, it's still worth picking up.
Yeah, but it definitely was. It's definitely the weakest of the first 3 issues. So
if I get a zombie book next week, I'm ripping it in half.
Oh, wow. Anyway, so that is the end of our show. We'll end it on that hot take. Just a reminder again, our Two Fat Guys mystery pull list ends at midnight Central Standard Time. So 12 a.m. Central Standard Time is the last time that you can sign up for our April mystery pull. So please go to brainycomics.com if you already haven't and subscribe today. We are giving away a cool custom piece of art, and everyone's getting a Boom #1, Magic #1 variant for store exclusive. So please go to brainycomics.com, subscribe to our mystery pull box. I promise you will not regret it. Somebody out there already has a 9.8 CBCS Department of Truth #1 sitting on their wall. You could be a lucky winner. We will obviously, in our next comic book haul video for next week, we will tell you the details for our May subscription box and what we will be giving away. And when I say we, I'm talking about Ron over at Collected Comics and Games. Also, if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. We are doing a giveaway. We are currently in a giveaway. Give a like. I always forget that.
Sure.
We're giving away this 9.8 Batman Who Laughs #1 Dark Knights metal tie-in. So when we hit 250 subscribers, someone is going to win this slab. So please subscribe. And then we have other ones. We're giving away a slab at 500, and then we're giving a slab away at 1,000. And those are super big books. But again, thanks again for everybody that's watching. I appreciate it. Jaden, John, Brent, all of y'all, everyone that commented today and everyone that gave us a like, thank you. We appreciate you so much for hanging out with us on Fridays and talking comics. We really enjoy doing this. It's just something, it's a hobby that we've grown into and we love it. So we love the fact that we can share it with all of our friends here on YouTube. So keep your eye out here on YouTube. Keep your eye out on our Instagram and Facebook page. And as always, read more comics. We'll see you guys later.
All right.
Oh, wrong button. Outro. Later.